brief conversation we had sometime in the past about Jerry Jones and Van Halen.
March.
Yeah, it was right after the scouting combine.
Or the owners' meetings is when he.
The owners' meetings.
When
That's right.
When he had the get together and he was doodling on a pad.
He was on the Bang bus and he was talking to reporters and he was doodling on his legal pad, his cowboy legal pad.
He had a prop where it looked like he had football things, but then if you zoomed in, you could just see it's
circles.
There's no actual language on there. It's doodles. And so we were talking about that, and it led us to this audio from March 25th's edition of the Hardline.
Looks like he tried to draw a field goal.
I think it's clearly the Van Halen
And
VH.
it went around. Yeah, right.
Or perhaps Def Leppard in the proper font, but regardless.
Can he name one Van Halen or Def Leppard song?
Yes.
No, he can't.
No way.
He's got to know.
Training camp.
He's got to know Jump.
No. Why would he know Jump?
Because he was like 40 when Jump was out.
No, he does not know.
You think I'm bad for not knowing Mariah Carey songs? That dude doesn't know anything.
All right, look up Jerry Jones' age in 1984.
Well, we know what it is. He's
know.
80. That was 40 years ago. He's 40.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm willing to put at least $5 that
DJ, write this down.
That
when
he
we,
knows who
when we go to
Roth
training
is.
camp, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Not
All right?
a chance.
We'll do it.
Not one.
He's got to know David Lee Roth.
So when Van Halen came on the scene in 1978, he was 34.
Yes.
Bob.
Like, did he like music?
He wasn't listening to that.
So it is our quest through camp to determine if Jerry Jones, in fact, does know a Van Halen song. He can't just say, yes, I've heard of them.
Yeah, he has to give us a title.
A song or a member of Van Halen.
Yeah.
We'll accept either one.
Either one.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have not had opportunity.
Michael Anthony was on bass.
We have not had opportunity to interface with Jerry one-on-one. Hopefully we will.
It's certainly coming.
The media party is not until next
So to
week.
speak.
So we will not get a chance to rub elbows with the Jones family at Nobu this year. I know everyone's crying for us, but that ordinarily would be our best opportunity. So we're just going to have to see if we can get him in passing at some point one of these practices. But yesterday, or actually Sunday, I came out here with Donnie, and it was my mission to get the pulse of the players. Do the players believe that Jerry knows a Van Halen song, and do they?
I know. That's a fair question, too.
because these are all Gen Z or Gen Alpha kids. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And so
Many born after the year 2000.
Van Halen was a long time ago. So let's have a listen and see if I was able to get to the bottom of, does Jerry know a Van Halen song? Jake Ferguson, can I get a quick question for you?
Sure.
Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I don't know.
Zach, you have a second?
No. I'm
No?
going to go in and work out.
Okay.
Are they signing autographs?
I'm just kidding. Those were the ones who rejected me. So Jake Ferguson and Zach Martin. I didn't include them in the real bit, but I just wanted to give you guys a false.
Sometimes rejection.
What an awesome piece of audio.
I wanted to make you think that was the bit, but that wasn't the bit.
No,
Okay.
it's
That
a bit
was-
behind the bit.
That was just a meta joke on the bit. No, here is the actual bit. And so every player, either I have them introduce themselves if I didn't know who they were, or I call them by name. So everyone in this is identified except for one who is he was walking with his buddy, and I don't remember his number. So there's only one mystery player on here. But
Okay.
here it is. Here is the pulse of Cowboys camp. Does Jerry Jones know a Van Halen song? Can you give me your name and number?
Denzel Jackson, 95.
Okay. Quick question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can you name a Van Halen song?
No, I cannot.
Can you name a Van Halen member?
No, I cannot. Hey, where you going?
Do you know Diamond Dave?
Diamond Dave?
You know Eddie Van Halen?
Yeah, I know Eddie Van Halen.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
Eruption?
Eruption? No, I don't.
Okay. Do you think Jerry Jones knows the Van Halen song?
I bet he does.
That's on his playlist?
I bet he does.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Can you give me your name and number?
Villian Falco, number 93. Tires Week, number 91.
Okay, quick question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I think he can. I think he can, too.
Can you name a Van Halen song?
I don't even know who that is.
No, he can't. I know he can't.
You?
Hell no.
Name a number?
Jason Johnson, 53.
Okay, quick question for you. I know you're young.
Yeah.
Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I don't even know who that is, so
You don't know who Van Halen is?
Nah.
Have you ever heard of David Lee Roth?
nah,
Sammy Hagar?
nah,
Eddie Van Halen?
nah.
Jump?
Nope. What's the genre?
It's like hair metal, like
Nah.
80s hair metal.
I don't know none of them.
Okay, all right, man, thank you. What's your name and number?
Carl Davis, 98.
Okay, quick question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
Yeah.
Like what album, what era do you think?
I don't
is-
know a Van Halen.
You don't know a Van Halen
Nah.
song? Panama? Jump?
I probably know if I heard it, but
Right.
I don't know a Van Halen song.
Are you a Van Halen or a Van Hagar guy?
I don't know what that is either.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Name and number?
David Durden, number 85.
Okay. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I couldn't name a Van Halen song.
Not one.
Not one.
Can you name a Van Halen member?
No, I don't know who Van Halen. I know he's like a musician. I don't know. Anything.
Eddie Van Halen, he's dead, but he was a
yeah.
guitar player.
I bet Jerry probably could. I can though. I
Okay.
have no idea.
All right. Have you ever heard of David Lee Roth?
No,
Sammy Hagar?
no.
Okay, man. Got some homework.
I do. I got some homework. I'm saying I'm caught up in the new generation of music. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, man. Thank you. Hey, Cooper. Can I ask you a quick question? So, Cooper Rush, do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I can't, so I don't know.
Nothing.
He probably can.
Do you know a Van Halen member?
Not the
You've
guy
never
to ask.
heard. You've never heard of David Lee Roth?
Nope.
Eddie Van Halen.
Van Halen, I assume.
Yeah, yeah,
Heard of him.
yeah.
That's the name.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not
Good
the music guy.
Okay. Well, I just thought maybe, like even '90s, like Van Hagar, like Right Here, Right Now, that one.
I mean, I know the song, but I wouldn't know it was them.
Okay.
No.
All right. Cool, man. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Name and number.
Dakota Shepley, 65.
Okay. One question. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
100%.
Which album? Which era?
He knows them all, man.
Like Hot for Teacher?
Yeah, Jerry Jones is a rock star, man.
Okay. All right. Panama, maybe. Do you think he can reach down between his legs and ease the seat back?
I can't answer that.
All right, thanks, man. Mozzie Smith, quick question for you. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I can't even name a Van Halen song.
Can you name a member of Van Halen?
Nah, it ain't.
Two of them have the name Van Halen. Luke Schoonmaker, question for you. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's probably right up his alley. I would
Can
think.
you?
Van Halen?
Like, do you have a song or an album?
Van Halen. I'm blank. I get them mixed up with Aerosmith all the time.
Right?
Um,
Like Hot for Teacher, Jump,
Jump. Yep.
I'll Wait,
Yep.
Running with the Devil,
Yep.
Eruption.
Okay. Yeah, those are some of the greatest.
Hey, quick question, Zeke. Do you think Jerry Jones can name a Van Halen song?
I have no idea.
Can you name a Van Halen song?
I cannot.
Like Panama, Hot for Teacher?
Maybe if I heard it, but
Okay.
I don't know if that's what my parents listen to, or is that now? I'm so sorry.
It's the 80s.
80s, yeah.
80s and 90s. Started in the 70s. Look up David Lee Roth. He did some fantastic high
Zeke.
kicks. Maybe you can work it into a celebration.
Maybe.
All right, man. Thanks. So everyone thinks that Jerry can name one, but none of them can.
We have the perfect synergy going on with, I think Jerry's too old to name a Van Halen song, and they're all too young. And everybody in the middle kind of can.
Yeah, I did not encounter any offensive linemen on Sunday, and I'm guessing of the demographic, they would have the most likely to have at least one who is a Van Halen fan.
Schoonmaker gave me some hope
All the white guys did.
because he could at least identify that Aerosmith is in the Van Halen.
Right. The fact
bin.
that Cooper Rush has never heard of them?
It was like 31.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, never even heard of them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that it's an upset because we all think of Van Halen as one of the biggest bands in the world, but it has been so long.
Dude, I think you could do the same thing with U2. You could probably do it with the Rolling Stones. Like, you could do it with almost every big rock and roll band.
Probably, huh? Like, you're not sure if Mozzie Smith.
Well, I'm saying go over. Like, he went
Okay.
over. I think you
Yeah.
could go over on almost any rock and roll band. Right? Like,
Yeah.
what one would there be? We're like, oh, yeah.
Coldplay?
No way.
No way. I mean, when you go back 40 years, this is what's tough for us to handle as humans. The distance between today and Van Halen's Jump is the distance between Van Halen's Jump and freaking World War II.
Right, the
It's
Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy.
It's the exact same distance to like D-Day, to like right, like Van Halen's Jump is right in the middle between D-Day and here.
Well, I think from the Jerry perspective, once we track him down and get it, that I now am more confident that Jerry knows it over a play. I may have been beforehand, just because that's impossible for a 25-year-old dude to identify, but Jerry at least was around. He was living and in the moment of them as an adult.
It's not his
jam.
It's not his wheelhouse. He may have heard of Van Halen, but there's no way he could name a member or a song.
But remember, 84, we had the monoculture. We weren't as fragmented. If it was a big thing,
yeah, but you were
got
either
to more of
you
us.
think Jerry was watching MTV?
If you were into country music, you were into country music. You did not sashay over into that arena of rock and roll.
But do we know he was in the country over rock and roll?
Well, we know that he definitely was more than he was rock and roll. Now, he may surprise us.
Well, we can't leave till we visit
we
with
can't.
him on this one
Elizabeth.
Yes.
All the way from Dallas Cowboys training camp, it is Gordon Keith.
Yes. How are we, Invasion?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I got my two buddies, Craig and George, with me today. They traveled all the way back here for this.
That was a nice thing for them to do.
Yeah, I know.
Immediately after the show, they left because Junior's so used to just flying out of the show.
This is their commitment to broadcasting.
And they came right back. It is fantastic.
Well, we wanted to go on this segment, but he just slipped us a note, Gordon did, and it says, and I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Okay,
it says,
get ready for some bad acting.
Hey, guys, I'd appreciate if you didn't come on this segment because it's my time to shine.
That's so stupid.
Signed, Gordon.
You're the guy who requires us to turn off their mics whenever you're talking. So it's only you.
What?
That's your big deal.
My big deal.
Hey, guys, I'm kind of the superstar of the ticket, so...
Hey, George, are you okay? George looks beaten.
My take is I've done 4.5 hours, and I can't do another minute with this man over here. Don't say that to Craig. No, I'm talking to you, Gordon.
Don't do the whole playlet yourself. You have to allow me my lines.
Well, speaking of playlets, last night at the team dinner, which was awesome. It's always awesome to break bread with our coworkers. I enjoy every single year the Junior Miller playlet around the time where he's about to go nuts because he's so hungry. Like, Junior builds up for the team dinner. I don't even know if he snacks or anything, but when he gets there, it's time to eat. And, you know, if you have 12, 13 people, they have to get things together.
It may take a while.
It may take a little bit if they're getting drinks and getting everything together. Then at a quiet moment, Junior would just look up and go, well, yes, I'll have the tacos. Oh.
And she's not there. She's not there.
To nobody.
To nobody in the corner. And
See.
it's more than once. And it tickles me every time I see it.
Thank you for being such a good audience.
Yeah, right.
Hanging out with my friends.
I
That's
threw roses
fun.
at you
But
yesterday.
the big traveling party to go to a meal or whatever is a beating.
It is.
God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It took a
is.
while yesterday.
Yes.
But it's
like
but, then,
herding
but
cats.
you see why it does, right? I mean, there's a lot of people, and you're trying to get things right, and I guess they want to see if you want a little time to, you know, talk and fraternize
starve
and all
to
that.
death
So it
and
seems, well,
Order a beer and 45 minutes later be able to sip it.
It does take a while. There was some hang time on that meal last night.
when we walked up, they said that they had several big parties there. So maybe they just had a lot of things going on.
Seemed
So-
pretty packed.
Right.
Yeah, they did. And our waitress had other tables, which is crazy.
She did?
Yeah.
Wow,
She had tables out
really?
on the patio, yeah.
Oh, wow. She was busy. She was in the weeds, as we say.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what they call
waiter
it.
industry.
I'm in the weeds. I need some help.
And then you guys are just so concerned, oh, I'm starving, and you just
Well,
want
the
your
food
food
part-
right now when she has work to do. Everyone just chill out.
I was
We're having
chill.
fun. We're talking. We're laughing.
Having a good time.
Telling stories.
Obviously.
Oh.
Man, you have such a
Happened so
problem.
fast.
Man, you don't even think, man. It's just part of your
right
rotation.
there.
Number 13.
He's so chill and relaxed, and then all of a sudden,
The thing is that Giorgio and I yesterday we ended pretty close. I mean, they're
Yeah,
up
it was
until
like
the very end.
6-5, and all of a sudden,
And
you
then
just
when we
take
got
off.
back to the hotel, that's when it started for me, and I've had a problem ever since.
Yeah.
It's 13-5 now.
Oh man,
Violations for Gordo.
So why did you guys just randomly pick 2014? You just went 10 years?
Yeah, I just threw out a random number.
Okay.
Just to try to update the drops we reference. And boy, we have looked up a bunch of them in the last 48
I know.
hours.
I've
Like,
learned.
what year was that?
Learned more about ticket history in the last 48 hours as to when things happen. It's very difficult, and you guys don't do that. Like I never hear Donnie talking in drops.
You know what? And I've told you I don't do it. And Matt doesn't
Yeah, I
do
don't
it.
do it.
And Corby and Bob and Davey and nobody does it except you two. Why is that?
That is weird.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like not all the time like you guys. You know, you do have some points to where I'll yell if.
Yeah, he does do
or
it sometimes.
Something like that.
Well,
yeah.
everybody will do it a little bit.
Yeah.
But you guys do
It's
it a lot.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Like a lot.
Yeah, apparently.
And these are just the violations from 2014.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to stay updated with your drops, you're still speaking in drops. It's
I know,
just,
but there's like classic hits that you can't get over because they're so great.
Yeah.
you're like a classic rock radio station. You have
Yes.
to keep
Yeah,
playing the
it's
hits.
Classic
right?
drops.
Yeah, classic
that
drop
make-
radio.
Would that make it as a format?
I'm Gordon Keith.
Here's some more classic drops.
But like
Here it is in its entirety. More on dog.
all of us who work here acknowledge that those are all classic hits. More
Yes.
on Dog is unbelievable.
Right.
It's great.
It's a
It's
masterpiece.
hilarious.
The chief of police coming up next.
Dog.
But why do you guys have to repeat those constantly?
Because they fit into the conversation so well.
Yeah.
I think you have the mind of the P1 because I
Thank you
feel
for
there
knowing
are
that.
a ton of
Thank
people
you.
that would do that exact same thing to people that don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Like at least we're speaking to each other and we know so you can get it. Like someone will be at the grocery store and they'll say something, obviously.
Right.
And then somebody will look at them like, what the hell are you talking about?
And
Why you
P1s have
thinking they're
identified other
lies?
P1s in public because they hear
drops.
someone else doing a drop.
Right.
And there was
true.
a P1 Callie. She said that up at her work, her friends, she's got friends that don't listen to the ticket but speak in ticket drops because her and her ticket friends
She got it
speak
started.
into it. So, speak in drops so often.
If if someone yells "if" and I walk by, I give them the point and the nod,
The knowing nod and the
we
point.
just know what's up.
He
That's
gets
it.
me. He gets me.
Is that safe?
What?
Yeah,
Safe, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
that happened
that's-
rather recently.
We can scream if.
Yeah.
Whenever Seattle played New England in a regular season game, then yes. No, it's.
Do we have that in context? The
full
longer
if?
version of if, when Norm yelled at Donnie. So uncomfortable.
Over a 2-point
too.
conversion.
Over a 2-point conversion?
It wasn't even a Cowboy game.
No, it wasn't. And he
Telling
was,
you right
Norm
now,
was very interested
Norm
in that
lost
game.
some money.
Something went haywire with that 2-point
always
conversion.
tell.
But it didn't work because of that call.
It worked
That
because
call
they had a
put
nice
the game more at
defensive
risk
stand.
than it would have.
Oh,
that
wasn't
call,
more at risk?
That call left the game far more risk for Seattle than it was when they lined up. Yes, it did.
didn't,
You
because
have
they-
much more chance to win if you have an 8-point lead than a 7-point lead. Is that not the truth?
I don't think it's as much as you
Is
say
that
it is.
not the truth?
It's not as much as you
that
say it is.
statement is the truth, yes.
No, it's a one-possession game.
Well, they have a better chance with a 8-point lead than a 7-point lead. That is true.
A little bit of a better chance, but you know what? You have
40% better.
you have a hell of a lot better chance when you have a 9-point lead. 100%.
That's that bright side of the 2-point play thinking. The other side is you failed and exposed yourself when you didn't have
You
to.
didn't expose yourself,
Yes,
Norm.
you did.
No, you didn't. It's a one-possession
Okay, then,
game.
then
It's
go
not
block the damn extra point, Donnie. Is that what you're planning on doing?
No, I'm just trying to tell you that one possession, 2 possessions. It's a whole big fat difference.
If
You've been saying
and
that
the
the same
if
thing
has
too.
a 45% chance of failure.
I've forgotten how loud it was.
Out of control.
And it was out of nowhere.
You know what? That scared us
Oh, my
as
God.
we listened back to it.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single one of us
So
jumped and yelled,
angry.
Man, I didn't realize it was that violent either.
Man.
So they're up 7. Kick the extra point. You're up 8.
Yeah.
But
they went for 2.
Seattle went for 2. They scored. They were up 7. They went for 2 to make it a 2-possession game to put it out of reach.
Yeah.
I don't even remember if they got it or not. I think they did. But then he was saying, and I was saying that even if New England scores, they're not going to go for 2 to win it. They'll probably kick a extra point, and then you'll go in overtime. So I don't think there's any risk for putting the game out of reach at that particular moment. And he has Norm has a problem with 2-point conversions anyway. He hates them. He hates them unless it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, man, man, he screamed and it made me. It took me back to that moment right there, man.
Yeah.
See? Ooh, what about that one?
Can we say the name of the town where
we're
grunge
on to?
was born?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That was in the last 10 years.
Okay, Seattle.
There's some good ones from the last decade.
Yeah, there
for sure.
are.
A lot of good ones.
I do love the fact that this morning you guys figured out that the Norm music, and when you listen to it again, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think it was way better than what you thought.
Right. I mean, I'm just
Such a cartoon sound.
Like a dog has his toy and he's kind of shaking his head with it. Oh, a brand new toy.
What?
It does sound like that.
It's that music.
Look, I mean, I'm just music.
So, all right. So this is what I propose today: is that since
here we
I'm
go. He's trying
so
to get out
far
of it.
behind, you're clearly going to win this thing. So we might as well call it off, right?
You're both wanting to call it off.
No, I don't.
Yesterday you wanted to, and now today he wants to.
I just wondered if maybe down the line we would have to, but I think I'm getting better. I think you're getting better.
No, he's not. He's more than doubled what he did yesterday.
Yeah, I have to tell
tired.
you, it's made my quality of life miserable. I have no quality of life right now.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
First to 50.
He'll just do it on purpose. So
I'm ready. I'm now ready to
lunchtime.
move to palliative care. I'm ready to. This is the end for me. If you don't give me my drops back,
I'm ready.
How about this challenge?
Oh,
how
we're
about,
safe on that one.
How about I will be able to use drops again, but you keep going since you're doing so well, and I don't want to disturb that. You go the rest of the week.
This whole exercise was for you.
No, it was
so
for
you.
you.
Would stop living in 1997.
It was for you.
With looking up Internet America Girl on the way back from the
Who?
airport.
What are you talking about?
And just bringing up.
I don't look up random women on the internet.
Gosh. And then you doing the Jack Buck call of.
Yeah,
have to be
that
careful
was the
here.
one. I think that's the one that really triggered this whole conversation because I was
'cause you
really
did it
hung up
over and over and
on
over
the
again.
on the 61st home run by Mark McGwire that
Yes.
time. Yeah,
and that's when I said, okay, that does it. No more drops from more than 10 years ago.
How do you guys live
I
without
think
that?
you know what the one
So crazy.
the
I don't
one
understand
I get,
your world.
The one I get caught up on the most is I think I've changed the way I've done things the last 5 years.
You'll say that?
I'll do something at the house, and you know
Yeah.
maybe the wife will yell at me. I was like, I've changed in the last 5 years. I don't think you.
I think I've changed the way I've done things in the past 5 years. I don't think you're recognizing that.
Such a weird voice.
I would throw that one out in a heartbeat.
My biggest struggle is Kobe.
Really?
Saying that
that
he
you
wishes
wish
for something.
he had knowledge.
Yes.
I wish we knew.
Yeah.
I say that probably 20 times a day.
I think mine. I think one of mine is the Kate Delaney talking.
Yeah,
about,
you got me going on that one later.
because
too.
I'll drop something on the floor and then that's the positive
yes.
thing about carrying this item is that you drop it.
Now, I
just declare everything positive.
When did you talk about the laptops? Was that within the 10 years? Or
I think that
been
was longer
older?
than 10 years ago.
Okay, because
so
that's
he still screams laptops down.
if I
every
drop
once in a while.
anything,
Yeah.
or if I open it up and do
yeah,
anything.
I think you're okay on that one.
No, I told that story. Dude, I told that story 20 years ago. About
Yeah,
the
but that
dude
drop?
who I put the laptops out there, but I didn't realize you could just take hard drives out of them to protect your financial data and everything. So I took a sledgehammer to laptops and put them out on the curb. And the dude found them. He was a trash picker guy, Went through
Yeah,
and
I
found
remember
them.
that, but I thought you retold it.
Laptops! Damn! When he saw that they were busted up. Real emphatically.
And if I drop something, if I discover something, and I will scream that one out in a lot.
Laptops.
So spaghetti, and then there's no meat sauce. Damn! I'm not ready to eat yet. So that's a big one.
So it's time to call off the thing. It was fun. Good competition. We'll shake on it.
Having a little fun here.
Couldn't even make it through day, basically 2.
I can keep going. It's just I don't see the point. You've won. You're the better man.
No,
It's
I
fine.
don't want that. I want some peace where I'm not going to be just pummeled by 28-year-old
You enjoy it, as Junior has established.
Yes, I
you
do.
suffer from it almost as badly as I do.
Yes, I do. I admit that. But I don't want to have another Jack Buck incident.
But you and
at
I
lunch.
love talking in drops to each other.
We do. But then
Why
you get,
take that away?
Yes.
because
It's your special language.
he gets
It's our love language.
stuck
Drop
like a
talk.
record, and you will hear the same one over and over like 50
and again,
times.
and again, and again, and again.
Oh,
Yeah, that's another one.
How did you do that to me?
Get ready to write more down.
Yeah.
Oh, my. God.
That really hurt him when you did that.
I love motorcycle Bob throttling up like that.
That's one of my favorites also. I don't know if I can join this crusade myself. I may be in
See,
violation.
Donnie, you're finding out Donnie has a lot of them.
That's
okay. I will there.
It's fun. So fun.
Dukes of Hazzard, Bob. And again.
And I've been doing this since I was a kid. You know, my mom always accused me of getting hung up on things.
Saying the same thing over
You
and
stay
over.
hung up on the same thing weeks at a time.
Yeah.
My dad, he was also, that was when he had a response to the famous quote of him saying, you know, son, you don't always have to be making noise.
We were somewhere recently, and an employee from the Ticket to Ganji, who worked here in year one, George and Ted and I were in line, and George said something, a drop from like year one or something that we used to say about Ted, or that
But
Ted
he and Al
used to
Michaels
say.
not talking to each other.
Yeah, right.
And Ted looked at George and goes, wow, you guys don't let stuff go, do you?
Yeah. That is true, yeah. Things enter our lives, but they never leave.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, let's put up the signal. This was an awesome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Maybe the greatest.
Way to go, Invasion.
Visit.
Is that a drop?
Gordon is into it. Maybe that's his release. That's his release from not being able to say 10-year-old drops.
Diary throughout training camp so we can kind of keep up with his progress and learn his story. And I ran into a guy who is actually related to a player from many years ago. And he decided that he was going to do an audio diary for us, and he already sent us his first entry. So let's take a listen at his audio diary this week from training camp.
Hey there, it's me, Isaiah Ontario, the veteran journeyman wide receiver hopeful, who is hopeful to be the guy man to make the team this year in the Cowboys training camp 2024. Well, it is during the first full week of training camp, and I must say that this has been the mostest difficult week of not only my life, but maybe also the most difficult week of my entire life. I'm really currently worried I'm not going to make the team. Dear listener, to me, I've had over 16 drops in practice, and I've committed 23 false starts. This would be bad stats by any standard, much less the standard that I have personally set for myself in accomplishing my goals. It has gotten so bad that Mike McCartney, the Cowboys head coach in charge of football, formerly of Green Bay Packer, yelled at me in the front of the whole team. It was so humiliating that he did not take me to a private location or take me out to a discreet lunch in order to correct me on my Sunday footballing missteps. No, dear listener, he yelled at me in front of my fellow compadres from this very football team. They all laughed and pointed to me and made me feel 5 feet small. Oh, dear listener, sometimes the pressure here gets so bad, I think about doing the ultimate in all of the desperate acts, quitting football in its entirely. But my dreams ever since I was little Isaiah Ontario the fourth was to be a NFL football player and to make enough money to buy a big house with a half bath right off the living room. I've always wanted to repay my mom for raising me. She has actually billed me for 167,000 euros, even though we are from America. So I really want to get her the money to pay her back. I have to tell you, sports listener, that Jerry Jones is not the kind Christian man that he is often portrayed in various paternity lawsuits. No, in fact, I often see him out partying and drinking with his own sons at glamorous various Oxnard hotspots. Just last night, I saw him with young blonde sitting on his lap and calling her Daddy. It both sickened and aroused me. Why are football coaches so picky? They want you to run every play as it is designed, but I am an artist who thrives on improv. Sometimes when I'm supposed to run a wheel route, I feel like I should run a more interestingly shaped route, so I run a route in the shape of a pretzel. For this bit of football creativity, I am rewarded with Brian Schottenheimer yelling at me and calling me the worst football player of all time. But I ask you this, dear listener, to this diary, would the worst football player of all time be able to come up with a pretzel route? I think not. I think damn not. And Brian Schottenheimer is stupid. I'm so tired of his black ass. Cooper Phoebe has been rather mean to me this week and not very supportive. The other day in the lunchroom, he held me down as each lineman came up, squatted, and farted on me with a tremendous force. I've got horrible pink eye this morning. Well, I've got to go because one of the coaches has just asked me to get my playbook and bring it into a meeting with the coach. I'm so excited. I'm betting that he wants to put the pretzel route into the team's playbook. This is going great. All my dreams are finally working out, and I will have a half bath off the living room in euros for my mom before you know it. I only wish my dad, Jeremiah Ontario, were still alive to see this, but he died on 9/11. Oh well, crap happens. I should clarify that was 9/11 3 years ago. Anywho, Isaiah Ontario out.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
That's nice.
I don't think that meeting probably went as well as he was anticipating.
No, not the playbook.
No.
I doubt they're putting in the pretzel route.
Pretzel route.
Well, he does not like Brian Schott.
Around the Justin Jefferson number?
Yeah, I would be shocked if it dragged out much longer. I think Jerry and Steven are taking so much heat for CD not being here and Mike and Dak not having extensions that I think they're anxious to get something done.
Yeah.
And that's the first one to get done.
And the thought is if they get that done, then next on the list will be Dak, and that maybe he will get a new deal before this season starts.
Are you feeling different about that now than you were a month ago, that he'll get a deal, or do you still think he won't?
I feel a little bit different about it because I was told that about 3 months ago that it probably wouldn't get done because they would get to the point where they didn't have a deal and Dak would finally say, let's get on with the season and I don't want to deal with this. Mm-hmm. I feel a little bit differently about it after talking to David, and especially if they get the Lamb deal done, then maybe they can take that next step and get Dak done. I still think, though, I 60-40 no deal more than 50-50 deal or no deal. Is but who knows? I mean, maybe I do think the reports are credible to say that there's at least dialogue between the two, and that's good. And, man, I think you've got a template. You've had enough quarterbacks signed to where you know where the market is. It's around there somewhere. I don't see what the big disconnect is unless the Cowboys just want to kind of play a game and play the long game and take their chances of I can't answer that. Do Jerry and Steven think this is our guy for the next 5 years?
That's what they say. They say that publicly, that they have 100% confidence in Dak. He's the greatest leader they've ever seen. You know, all of that stuff Jerry has said this week, that he's our guy. Steven has said, we love Dak. We want him here for a long time. So they will either put their money where their mouths are or they won't. Now, deep down, do they really believe that? I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so. Maybe not completely believe that. Partially, I could see that, but they have to have some questions. As we talked about the other morning, after this organization for the last 16, 18 years has paid a ton of money, relatively speaking, to that position, the position of quarterback, and they have 4 scattered, random, meaningless playoff wins to show for it between Romo and Dak. Jerry and Steven have to be sitting down daily and saying, all right, are we sure about him? Because the last bit of evidence we have was not very good, that Green Bay game. And this has now been 8 years with him, going on 9 years with him, and we don't have a whole lot to show for it. Are we sure he's the guy? But as the list of top-paid quarterbacks in the NFL currently, none of those guys are guaranteed to be the guy. None of them have top 8. None of them have a Super Bowl win. So all organizations, if they just have a good guy, are betting that guy will at some point turn into Mahomes or some facsimile of.
Yes. And, I don't know how it got so out of control at this position. It is you have to have, if you're going to win this thing, you have to have a quarterback. It's pretty much been that way, though, in the NFL for a long time. There aren't many, average to below average quarterbacks who have Super Bowl rings as a starting quarterback. But how it got this out of whack, what does Dak deserve? I mean, I think all these guys, if you want to throw in Jordan Love and Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts and guys who I think are comparable to Dak, I don't think they're worth $55 million a year, but that's what the market says they're worth, somewhere between $51 million and $55 million, and that price is going up, as the Cowboys may find out either in the next month or maybe after this year. If Dak has another really good regular season, the Cowboys go to the playoffs. It's so out of whack, though. All these guys, I think the only one who really earns his money is Patrick Mahomes. I think all these guys are not worth what they're paid. It's amazing how far we've come with this, and how in a salary cap league that you can take such a big chunk before you've really proven anything. I mean, Jordan Love, yeah, he looks like he's on the trajectory to be really good, but couldn't you see him having a Dak-like career, which wouldn't be a bad career? But there's no guarantee the Packers are going to go to the Super Bowl and get a win with Jordan Love as their quarterback. I still think there's plenty of questions about him.
Who would you take right now? Would you take Dak or Jordan Love? Knowing the age.
Well, I heard that question come up yesterday.
Really? Age and upside and all of that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll say keep it down in case Dak's. It was just his birthday yesterday. I'm going to take Jordan Love.
I think I would too. And I only say that
because his high end is, we don't know it yet.
Right.
I think we've seen all, and it's good. What we've seen on Dak is really good.
No doubt.
And I think on the right team, I think you could win a title. It could happen. I still believe that. I don't think it's going to happen here. Well, let's say you put him on the Rams. Put him on the 49ers. I think they could win a Super Bowl with Dak.
I can't say that with absolute confidence.
The 49ers?
I can't say that with absolute confidence because I've seen Dak in these big moment, big pressure games. And I cannot say that with absolute confidence.
Yeah, but you can hand it off to McCaffrey and Debo and just say run.
Yeah.
And cheer.
I mean, he'd have a better chance than here.
And scheme to where, okay, you're going to fake it here and you're going to do this, and the guy's going to be wide open. All you got to do is just – I think Brock Purdy's been good, but I think Dak could do that and maybe even do it better.
I just have this memory of the Green Bay game, and he was so bad.
Terrible. Just terrible.
So that's the most high leverage moment of last season, and that's what he threw out. That gives me pause from saying with absolute confidence, oh, yeah, just put Dak on the 49ers and he wins a Super Bowl easy. Well, what if he is their quarterback and they win 12 or 13 games in the regular season, the first playoff game, the pressure gets ratcheted up, and he goes out there and lays an egg? Is that hard to believe? Hard to imagine?
No, I mean, that's what we've seen in a lot of these games. But I just think that team and the scheme is so good that Dak could do that. I think they're better fortified, especially with what we talked about an hour ago, with what the Cowboys are running out there and running back and all the question marks they have on defense.
I mean, at least it's a conversation, and it shows the pickle the Cowboys are in because Dak is good enough to where you really have to have these conversations.
Yeah.
About, is he the guy? We think so, but we have some concerns, but he's better than most, so we probably need to keep him, but he hasn't been very good in the postseason. I mean, he's entering his 9th year, and he's got 2 playoff wins.
Yeah.
2.
And there's some other guys who've had more success in that they've gone further. I have no problem paying $55 million to Joe Burrow. I think he's proven it. You know, he's had to battle a lot of injuries. Are you sure Trevor Lawrence is a superstar for the next 5 to 10 years?
No, I like him. I like him a lot, but
I do too. $55 million a year. Tua?
Nope. Like him.
Can he stay on the field? $53 million a year. Jared Goff?
Again, like him, but no.
Lamar Jackson?
Like him a lot, but no.
Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, they're all
like them, but no.
So it's not just the Cow. Obviously, you know, a lot of teams are going through this, and Daniel Jones at $40 million a year. You know that they're going to have to the hope that they were right, at least semi-right about it. I just it's gotten so far out of whack, and I don't know how they can't get that genie back in the bottle unless teams start not just being successful, but winning it with the quarterback on his rookie contract. And that's the only way to get these things to start coming down.
So let's not count Russell Wilson because he is probably going to be a backup this year. I don't know. But let's not count him. How many starting quarterbacks in the NFL today have won a Super Bowl? Are we at an all-time low on that list?
I think we are.
It's Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes, and am I missing somebody else? Because with the recent retirements of Brady.
Aaron Rodgers,
okay. So that's 3.
I think it's 3, yeah.
Recent retirements of Brady and Roethlisberger and Breeze, that took a lot of those Super Bowls out of there.
Yeah.
Manning, had won a couple, even though it's been a few years since he retired. But we only have 3 guys starting in the league right now that have won a Super Bowl. That seems like a really low number.
I know. And I think that I want to say that is the lowest number since the merger.
Okay.
I think I heard that stat, so I think that's right.
So the door is open there, unless you believe Mahomes is about to win 5 in a row. But for all of these guys that we've just mentioned, some of them are going to get there.
Yeah. Some of them are.
It's just, is the guy on your team going to be one of those guys? And that's what the Cowboys are wondering.
Well, and here's another way to do it. Either he had the guy on his rookie contract, or I'm not saying Tampa's going to do this year. This is a very controversial guy to bring up because he's been kind of all over the road. But somebody like Baker Mayfield,
a reclamation project,
who is costing you $33 million, that's $20 million difference. That's big in a salary cap, equation. That's another way to go where build your team, and then pick up a guy. I'll throw out Kirk Cousins, maybe. But, he's now at this latest deal, he's up at 45, but that seems like a somewhat of a bargain. That saves you $10 million or so. That may be the other way to do it. Let's build our team, and then let's not get caught up in the quarterback cash out. Let's pick up a guy who we know is good, and we can win a Super Bowl with him if we're good enough at every other position. But that seems like a big leap. No, you got to have a guy. You got to have an elite, as we talk about elite quarterbacks. I'm not so sure about that.
That would be the third option for most teams. All GMs, if you ask, they'd rather, have drafted a guy and he's their guy, even if they're paying him.
Because I think there's very few that fit into that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then number 2 would be somebody like C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy, really good quarterback on a rookie deal. That would be preferable. That might be number 1, although it wouldn't go over somebody like Mahomes or Stafford maybe.
Yeah.
And then number 3 would be the Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield reclamation project path.
Yeah.
But it can work. I don't know if it can work to the tune of a Super Bowl. I'm sure we've seen it work at some point in the past. whether it was Trent Dilfer or whoever. But that's the hardest way, I would think, to do it.
Yeah, probably so. If you put Gardner Minshew on the 49ers, could you win a Super Bowl?
Again, I don't think so. I like him, but I would say no.
Yeah.
I think that's underrating what Brock Purdy has done.
Yeah, probably so. And I'm not doing it as a shot at Brock Purdy, but say if something did happen to him, and then you have somebody like Minshew as a backup, could you still get there? That's the other thing. If Dak doesn't play this year, let's just hypothetically say something happens and he's out for the entire season. When Cooper Rush has come in, he's 5. If Cooper Rush had to play this entire season for the Cowboys, what's the value of Dak? Does he give you 10 wins over 6, 10 over 9? I think he would give you more wins than Cooper Rush, but it may be closer than we think.
Well, Cooper Rush was really good when he filled in for Dak.
He's 5-1.
But I would say Dak is worth. If the general consensus is this
refused to move. Over on the other side of him is Donovan Lewis, who just got done saying controversial things during the break.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about what you smelled?
Oh, okay.
I
forgot about that.
Over there is Dave Lane on the right, and he still looks very fetching in his Tiger shirt.
Thank you.
And next to him is a man wrapped in a blanket, looking like he's played his best football already. It is George Dunham.
Hey.
And at the head of the
Hard
table,
line.
our sports leader, Bob.
Yes, just like Da Vinci portrayed once
All right,
upon a time.
so real quick.
At the head of the table.
Our idea was to just, let's go around the horn, give your final 53, and then we'll go from there.
I'd like to hear who your bubble guys are.
Does Josh Ball make the
Dak.
team this year again?
No way.
Dak Zeke.
Okay, that's
I know
2.
they're making it.
That's 2.
CD will get her eventually.
All right,
Ferguson.
3, 4.
Hey, you
Yeah,
got
I
it. You
don't
nailed
know.
it. You
Yeah.
nailed it.
You seriously look like you need some help
I
in
was
this
fine.
picture.
Yeah, and it doesn't
does.
help. So that we're on the tennis courts, and so there are the posts that are where the net attaches when they do have these set up for tennis courts, but they just wrap it in foam so no one impales themselves on it, and it's underneath the back of the blanket or tablecloth.
Like an oxygen tank or
Yeah, so it looks like you have supplemental oxygen.
You need some type of IV or something.
Look,
I don't know
I'm
what's
tired
happening.
of being hot. I know we haven't had a really hot summer, but it's still hot. And it's nice to have cool weather. So, yeah, I packed very lightly. I did mean to bring a sweatshirt, but I didn't.
You have been out here 1,000 times, and you did not bring a sweatshirt.
You didn't know that 3:30 in the morning might be a little chilly?
I know, but I brought a towel from the hotel. That's what I put around my
To
legs.
drape over your crippled legs.
my legs, and then Killer got me a tablecloth to put over.
Look like Corby at the Super Bowl talking to Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Jerry.
Okay, I'll try to do better tomorrow.
We need to get
With
you.
what? You're going to double up, put on 3 pairs of shorts and 3 shirts
I'm
or
going to go
something?
buy a windbreaker.
Doesn't
Kansas
our-
City Chiefs windbreaker.
Does our hotel have a nice robe you can wear here?
Okay, maybe I'll do that.
It's interesting. I think
Wear
the
the
players
robe.
would love that.
McCarthy comes on with us in a couple
Yeah,
days.
you kind of look like
robe, huh?
Tony Soprano.
Got the slippers and the robe.
There's no chance there's a robe in that room.
Hey,
I don't think so.
So I don't know how you wanted to space this out, Mr. Snake, but I'd like to play some audio for George here when
do
we
it.
have him. Do you have this back at the station,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Deej? Okay, so we wanted to play some audio for George.
DJ, say hi to the round table. My God.
Hi,
Come on, DJ.
Hey, friends.
Hi, DJ.
Lando, say something.
He's not in his chair.
God. I hate our show.
He hates Rhino.
Okay, so over the years there have been a lot of questions about Jerry Jones and whether he's ever caught a salmon and various other items that came up over the course of time in conversation. Does Jerry know about this or that in pop culture? And we would like our panel to weigh in on this, but specifically in the audio, we do cite George as a proper prosecution witness in this case. So
because he probably knows Jerry the best. of all
yes,
of
there's
us.
no doubt he is a resource.
Man,
He
we
is
haven't hung out
connected.
much lately.
He's been on the helicopter. You've done a lot of great things over
I've
the
been on
course
the
of time.
PJ. I haven't been on the helicopter.
You've been on the Peach?
Yeah, back in Desperado days, sometimes we would take that back from road games.
Wow. With him on it?
No, it was usually a couple of other members of the Jones family. And us, me and Grego.
All right. All right. Well, apparently this was from the March 25th edition of the Hardline.
Almost as if it was yesterday.
So long ago.
The notepad is scribbles.
I don't-
There's no
well, that's-
words. There's nothing.
I know, but that is added to the routine. So we have these moments every year.
It's like a toddler who doesn't know how to write yet, but just is acting like they're writing.
Looks like he tried to draw a field goal.
I think it's clearly the Van Halen
And it went
VH.
around. Yeah, right.
Or perhaps Def Leppard in the proper font. But regardless,
Can he name one Van Halen or Def Leppard song?
yes.
No, he can't.
No way.
He's got to know.
Training camp.
He's got to know Jump.
No. Why would he know Jump?
Because he was like 40 when Jump was
No,
out.
he does not know.
You think I'm bad for not knowing Mariah Carey songs? That dude doesn't know anything.
All right, look up Jerry Jones' age in 1984.
Well, we
He's
know what
gotta
it is. He's
know-
80. That was 40 years ago. He's 40.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm willing to put at least $5 that
DJ,
he,
write this
on.
down.
That
when
he
we,
knows who
when we
David
go to
Roth
training
is.
camp, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Not
All
a
right?
chance.
We'll do it.
Not one.
He's got to know David
so,
Lee Roth.
So when Van Halen came on the scene in 1978, he was 34. Do you think
Yes.
Bob,
Like, did he like music?
he wasn't listening to that.
He cannot name a member. He cannot name an album title. He cannot name a song title.
No.
Call George. George has to know this.
No, he doesn't know that.
George will have my side on this one.
No. Matter of fact, opening presser. Opening presser, I swear to God, we will get to that question answered.
You always
So-
swear
so
to
that
God
be-
about something.
So that began, you remember when he did the impromptu interview on the bus and he had the yellow tablet
Right.
and he was writing notes on it,
Just
but if you
lines and-
zoom in on it, it's just scribbles.
Yeah. And that's where he's drawing the Van Halen.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob, I love to agree with you, but Corby and David, there's no way.
And
Now,
so
if
at
you
40
played
years
him-
old, he didn't know the biggest rock song in America.
No.
If you played him, you really got me, and he go, oh, okay, yeah, Van Halen, okay, but ask him to name a Van Halen song, no way,
Or a member.
or a member.
I bet he knows. I bet he
I'm
knows
leaning
Eddie
with-
Van Halen.
I'm leaning with Bob. I think he does.
I don't think there's any
I really
way.
do.
He just doesn't.
Okay.
Whatever music circles he ran in or currently
He
runs
just
in.
listens
He's a
to
country
banjo
western guy.
music.
Yeah, he's
Right.
a country western
Arkansas.
guy.
Yes, he doesn't. I mean, you can avoid rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Could he name
Yeah.
you 5 rock and roll guitar players?
No.
No. I don't. I don't. I mean, like
Like of all time.
I mean, could he name John Lennon, Keith
Snatch?
Richards?
They haven't.
I
Shown,
think you
Yeah,
could get
okay.
Keith Richards.
they haven't shown him
No,
on the screen during the timeout at the Cowboys. They might as well jump. As they're playing jump at the
Yeah.
stadium.
So he doesn't know Jump. He doesn't know Panama.
He knows Dolly Parton.
Hot for Teacher.
Can't
No.
believe they started using
Hot
keyboards.
for teacher?
Pound Cake.
Oh, I love Hot for teacher.
Ice Cream Man.
That video.
Got it made.
That may
got
be
it
Jerry's
made.
theme song.
Does he have any?
Hot for teacher.
Or Ice Cream Man.
Does he have real strong Sammy Hagar versus
David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth takes?
Maybe he's a
Can't
Gary
believe they let
Sharon
that-
guy.
Would you accept if he knew Yankee Rose?
There is no way. He could not name a member. He could not name a song.
No. You still convinced?
Well, there's $5 out there. You missed
Okay.
the stay of the team. You promised a P1 something on
I
that
will.
piece of
And
audio.
I will.
Well, no, you already broke it. It
Well,
didn't happen.
So tomorrow we are going to get player perspective on this. And it is our mission as a show to track down and get the answer from the man himself, from Jerry, before the end of
That's
the week.
a great one. He may surprise you.
And
I
you
mean, I
can't
don't
say,
know, maybe
what if we're just like, hey, have you ever heard of Van Halen, and can you name a song? Yes.
So
I mean,
does
it's
it
terrible.
Well, I think you have to start with like, what's your favorite Van Halen song?
What if you play him jump and he says Van Halen? Does that count?
No.
Why
Okay.
not?
No, he's got to name a song.
But if you just play it and he says it's Van Halen, then he knows the song.
So we're going to have two people go up there with Jump queued up. One guy recording, and like you hit, and he has to listen to that
It'll
and
be
be
like Garden State, where you put your headphones on Jerry's head.
Yeah.
And he's
got to
gonna
listen to this song, man.
He would walk away, right? You would never even
No.
get to it. If
You
you
can't
try,
touch
if
him.
you hit play for 1 second, he's gone, right?
no. He's standing out there on the field. He's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, Corby could pull it off.
Kenny,
Gordon could pull it.
Gordon could. I think
the Snake could have pulled
I think
it off.
he would
Could
listen
Corby?
to me play it.
That sounds like a challenge.
He cut his hair. There's no way he could do it now. He lost his superpowers.
Y'all are such idiots.
Okay, did Van Halen ever play Texas Stadium?
Yeah.
And did they play in the 90s?
No.
So they played the Cotton Bowl.
I thought they played Texas Stadium.
Oh, yeah. So they were part of the Texas Jam, but that was always at the Cotton Bowl, right?
Cotton Bowl.
I don't know if they ever played Texas Stadium.
Yeah, I don't know if they did.
And
I
that's the
was
thing.
thinking
Even the
maybe-
90s, they were kind of washed up and done by then. They kind of had a resurgence when they started playing together again.
Yeah, I think didn't they do like a free concert in the West End?
Yeah, that was
we
in
talked about
92.
that. I went. I was there.
Maybe Jerry was there too. Steven, they're playing a free concert.
We got to go. We got to go.
I know it's Hagar, but let's go.
So
I would love to ask Steven if he thinks his dad knows that, because obviously Steven grew up in that. I mean, like
Yeah,
he knows
Steven's
probably
into it,
40
yeah.
Van Halen songs.
Yeah.
So a cursory search shows Van Halen did not play Texas Stadium. However, Eddie Van Halen did.
With Michael Jackson?
Yes, he played "Beat It" with
Okay.
Michael Jackson
Okay.
at Texas Stadium.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think he knows Eddie Van Halen. Like if you just said Van Halen to him, I think he would say Eddie.
Eddie.
Like what?
And
Can
that's probably about it.
All right, we'll get
We're
it
looking
done.
at him.
We'll get her done, one way or the other. We're gonna figure
That's
this
a really
out.
good one. What was the other band? Van Halen and who?
Def
Def
Leppard.
Leppard,
Yeah,
but
no way on Def Leppard.
you know, Running with the Devil, maybe a little Eruption. Been through as many camps as you, kind of knows this comes with the dinner.
Yep.
It's hard to play football without football injuries, and keep marching, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's you know, that next guy up mentality, and while you really feel for Sam, but Sam's going to be back because Sam's going to be a big part of what we do, and he's put so much into it. And it's his time. Well, his time will come again. But what we've got to do is keep the machine rolling, and we've got to find people. We feel like we have depth there, but we're going to be out there looking to improve our football team because we have the opportunity to have 90 guys in camp and go through. We got 3 preseason games. We have opportunities against other teams, so that gives us a chance to evaluate them.
yeah, and so I can just see though the meetings back in February. Okay, here are our UFAs, but here are our up and coming guys. Let's let guy A and B go because C and D are ready.
Yes.
And that plan hits the floor before we even get to August.
Yep, and that happens. But that's why you draft. That's why you never reach in the draft. You find your best players, and then you fill up your roster and you go and you compete.
Yeah.
Like, how quickly does your mind go from, holy hell, this sucks on 11,000 different levels to, all right, now what's the next step?
Where's my spreadsheet?
Shoot, as soon as yesterday, and Sam's like a little brother to me because, as soon as it happened, you feel the emotions that you go through there, and then you go, okay, what do we need? Okay, who's available? So we know it well enough. I got the pro director and the staff, and we started looking at, who was out there to at least know what that landscape was.
Yeah, man. What a job, and the reaction times probably feel extremely urgent. But that's why you guys say the personnel business is 365.
365.
Yeah, we're always looking to improve our
Yep.
team, even though everybody's like, yeah, that's a cliche. No, it's actually what the job is.
It is, especially at this time of year. Every team's going through it too.
Yeah. So let's talk about the 2023 draft with regards to what it could do to the 2024 roster. People always say, well, what, evaluate last year's draft. Well, here's the thing. Bill Walsh said, let's not do much with their rookie year because the second year is when those guys are supposed to pop. I imagine you guys are really counting on that from several guys who were unable to even play a snap for you last year from that 23 class.
Well, it's definitely true, and that's the way the NFL works, and it has to work. And for you to be an organization that has an opportunity to win 12 games a year for 3 years in a row, you have to draft well, and they have to develop because you can't pay all of them. So in last year's class, we have 3 guys that didn't even play that have now been in the program. They've been in the weight room, and while they had that injury, they've also had an opportunity to physically, mentally, spiritually, all that stuff mature, and now they're getting reps out here. We weren't the same at our jobs the first year as we were the second year because of things that now we know the lay of the land. Now they got to get on the field and they got to perform. But we feel good about those guys growing and maturing in our system.
Where do you see the most maturing year 1 to year 2? You talk about like physically or emotionally or mentally. What's the biggest jump you see from guys? Is it the mental just catching on?
For me, I think it's emotionally that starts, because if you get the emotional part right, then because now they know where their feet are planted. There's no more moving around. Hey, this is where I am, and this is what I have to fight for. So now they know what the conditions are. So once you got that right, then you get in the weight room and you get physically right. Then you're not as all over the place, and now I know what to study, how to watch tape. Those are all things that college guys have to go through that. So I got a year in that environment. I'm only going to be better if it means something to me. And I feel like this group of young guys, it's important to them because we see them out here and putting all that time they put in for rehab. When you look at John Stephen, when you look at Overshown, when you look at Durden, those are 3 guys that were having really good preseasons last year. Had that injury happen, and now they hit it harder, and they're better now than they were last year.
Yeah, it's interesting, and this is Will McClay with us, a guy we've visited with for many camps, it seems like, and over the years, even before the draft, we get a chance to bend your ear occasionally, and it's interesting. You can see the spots on the depth chart where you guys said, okay, we're okay, everything's good. Not maybe part of the earthquake, who can say? but we see where you guys go get a veteran. And then we can see the places where you guys obviously choose not to. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned wide receiver is a good spot there with Brooks and Tolbert and Durden and some of these guys. So you guys must feel pretty good about the wave and what you guys see behind the scenes that we're just guessing about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see those guys and we know those guys. And we predict their curve and we think of how they're going to fit into what we do. You can't go out and pay every free agent. You don't have a bunch of first-round draft picks, so you get these people, and then you count on the people within your building to help them grow and help them get better at their jobs, and that's what the NFL is, and those guys have to step up. And if you pick the right people with the right physical skills to compete at this level, now are they going to have all that other stuff to take us to that next level? Because you can't have a team full of superstars.
When you have a contract situation in the wide receiver room with CD, is that something that you just stay out of and you're focused on the guys that are in the room, or how much do you get involved in those talks?
Focused on the guys that are in the room. We let the contract people do that, and the agents and the cap guys work that out, and it gives us an opportunity to see what we have, and we will come to a conclusion and get our guy here. But we also get an opportunity to see what everybody else can do, and that's very important because there may be reps that CD would be taking that we might have been taken away from somebody else. That now, like yesterday, T. Billy had a great day. And if CD's out there getting those reps, then maybe we don't get an opportunity to see that. So, guys, when your time comes, you have an opportunity to step up and show it, and that's what this is all about. That's what camp's all about.
Do you ever get impatient, though? Are you like texting Steven, what's going on, dude?
All the time. We have arguments about it. And I still got a little coaching in me, so I want to see it right now, and then we always pull it back and talk about the development. I think one of the strong things about this staff and what they do and bringing Zimmer in and watching him work is the way that they teach that maximizes the abilities of the players, and that's what I'm excited about is the way that the coaching staff has done it and the way that the players have kind of come together collectively. This is a close group of guys that it's a unique situation right now.
Have you noticed a change at all in Mike Zimmer since he last was roaming these sidelines, or is it the same old Zim?
It's the same old Zim. He's a football savant in the way he coaches and challenges people, and there's just so much of the game and his understanding of how to call defenses and the way he does it. Zim is still Zim.
He did claim on the Musers.
He's cussed me out a couple times. So
he claimed on the Musers this morning that he has mellowed a little bit.
I'm sure if that's what he said.
Just like 1%.
Sure, yeah.
Is this the first time you've had a T. Billy in camp? Would you say? On the roster, I feel like the first.
Probably so. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. In name and in uniqueness. He's
yeah,
a unique individual.
No, he definitely flashes. So when you do, and you've gone through this a few times, when you change offense or defense, you lose an advocate for a lot of players that you guys might pick. How big of a deal is that normally, especially if there are scheme differences? I assume, well, this was a DQ guy. I don't know how he fits with Zim.
Yeah, no,
Can you talk us through that?
We go through that because, when you pick players because of their ability, but to also fit into, whatever you're doing. And so whenever there's a change, that always happens. Hopefully you're picking good enough football players that fit, but they're pieces that you have to go through to find out how you're going to use them. You might have to change a little bit of your scheme to take advantage of something, or that piece might not fit. So we go through all that with every new staff that comes in. We got to educate ourselves on what they want, why they want it, and then we have to go through, okay, this is who we have. How do they fit? And then you got to go through the process. Like Zim, they haven't had a lot of time with the guys because they were installing scheme and all that stuff in the spring. Well, now he's into the players and starting to see, okay, I think this guy can do this. So we're building it as we go, but I think that is an issue when you change. But if you get good football players and you get good coaches and good systems that use those players, you have an opportunity to continue to move forward.
Last thing from me, when we were out there at the state of the team, there was so much talk about those big three contracts that I sat here and I wondered what Will McClay thinks sometimes, because when you build a team, you've said 3 times since you've sat down that we can't pay everybody. Mm-hmm. Okay, but there's a formula, $255 million. How many big deals can we give out? And then we still need 22 starters, and we still need 47 guys on game, whatever it is. We need special teams filled out. We can't have weak links, because weak links get us whooped in Buffalo or Miami or whatever at the end of the season. So can you walk us through feeling that you're fortified at a lot of these positions where you
never really feel fortified, because things happen like happened yesterday. Things you count on, things change. From a contractual standpoint, we let the front office deal with that. And again, we've all got bills and credit cards. If I don't have it, I can't pay it. How do I manage? And so that's what we have to do, is find. That's why you draft and develop, because that's the only way financially it works. And so the front office, and we go through all the things to decide who to pay, who not to pay. My job and my staff's job is to continue to find those pieces to build this roster, because you're never one player away, again, as we see. So that's the hard part. The contract stuff, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, but you have to fix A, B, and C with minimum. Right? I mean, that's a job, right?
Yes, and that's what we do. And that's what we have to do. You go out and you look for those pieces, and those guys come in and they compete. And it may be a free agent that you can get for a year or two to fill a hole while the rookie. And that's the mastery of putting a roster together, because it's 53, and the 53 you're counting on, then 2 get injured, and it's about depth and quality depth and competitive depth to me, because it's 17 weeks plus the playoffs. It's a long season, and you got to have depth.
To that end, so you're in pads tomorrow, then you've got the preseason game against the Rams. We've talked about the 2023 guys that were hurt, that kind of have redshirted. And so when you are thinking about those preseason games, and you're thinking about the bottom of the roster and the guys that need to emerge, that need to fill a role, who are some of the sleepers or the bubble guys that you really hope will show out in those preseason games?
It's too early to get in the names. I don't want to put that pressure on anybody, because I did it before and I'm not doing it ever again. But you want to see who steps up with the opportunities they are given. We have some guys that we hopefully remain healthy, and we know we're going to be there. It's player 30 through 53, who's going to provide us with some things that we need for the team to progress and be successful and to have depth at the positions that we need. So it's the opportunities that they have and taking advantage of it. So you talk about those games, there'd be, who's going to play, who needs to play, who do we need to evaluate, and who can we take advantage of these snaps to find out more about.
You excited that Hard Knocks is now
season Hard Knocks with the Giants? I've watched a little bit of it, but I hadn't really gotten to sit down and enjoy it. But what I've seen of it's very interesting. It is very interesting because I think we all assume that we're all kind of GMs in our minds and we can put together any team. And they're showing the behind the scenes action, and it's kind of weird to have it like going on right there as they're trying to get players out. When I first heard it, I thought, maybe they've gone too far. Maybe it's a little oversaturation as far as the Hard Knocks will go. But this one I think it's better than the training camp one.
Yeah, I'm surprised about the Giants, too, because they're not usually a team who let you in their doors. And so anyway, they're knowing John Mayer and them. But, the league's pushed this. And we certainly require teams to participate in these shows. And it's certainly, I think, something that our fans really like to get into. They enjoy it. And I think it only brings interest to our football game.
So, of course, everybody wants to know contracts and talking about the guy that isn't here in CD and, of course, the quarterback that would like an extension. And we know you guys want to extend him from what we have heard you say. But are you surprised at where the wide receiver market and the quarterback market has gone this offseason and the numbers that are being given to these guys?
Not really. I mean, the quarterback market hadn't really gone anywhere. I mean, it's kind of is what it is. It's, at the top, it's between 50 and 55. It used to be a couple years ago, whoever was up went to 56, and then the next guy went to 58, and the next guy. So that hadn't happened, which to me is interesting. These guys are all coming in at Burrow or below Burrow in terms of, the precedent he set a couple years ago. So, that one I think, and I think the quarterbacks are realizing they do have to have other players around them. And when they take a big portion of your salary cap, if you're making 50, that's 20+% in terms of, a $250 million salary cap. That's a big hit. So that one hadn't surprised me. Obviously, the Jefferson contract was different in terms of what the receivers were doing. They were all kind of chalking up there, going 25, 26, 28. And then you had the Jefferson deal. So that makes it a little more challenging. But, hey, that's part of it. And, we'll just sharpen our pencil and keep working at it.
Because we always wondered, Stephen, when was the time where you may just kind of bump your head on the salary ceiling? Mm-hmm. And you saw some different numbers like Patrick Mahomes with all he's accomplished. And when he got his deal, you're thinking, man, that may be it. And maybe that's where the head bumping will start. But it hasn't done that at all. And everyone's kind of going over. When you look at the receivers and the talent with Justin Jefferson, do you feel at any point you're going to get to a point where you say, you can't go over that number because it's kind of, maybe not allowing you to do anything else with your team that you want?
Yeah, well, I think, every team's different too. I mean, Minnesota they're not paying a quarterback, right, and they're really not paying anybody. Last I checked, they may have just paid a tackle over 20, but they don't have many players that they're paying. So, in Jefferson, who's their premier guy on their team, we have 3 or 4 or 5 guys like that, like Diggs and, certainly we still have Zach Martin here. And so every team has to, can be, different and structured in a different way. But, no, like I said, I take exception with you a little bit on the quarterbacks. I think those guys are that Burrow 55 has stopped. And obviously a guy like Mahomes, all he's got to do is raise his hand.
Right.
I think Mahomes also is liking winning those championships, and he knows he can take so much before – what can he have? And Kelsey, did the same thing. I mean, he could have probably walked away with quite a bit more money in terms of what they got in the tight end market. And, I think all those things have to come into play. I was just talking to another group, and, one of the great things about Texas is you don't have state income taxes. Companies like to move here because it's a lower cost of living than it is in some of these other big cities. So, those are all things that we're trying to sell our players on so that, we can put other guys around, Dak, CD, eventually Micah, Diggs, Steele, all those guys, at some point we want to keep being able to put some guys around them. But at the same time, I totally understand they want to be paid, and, it's their time to be paid, and we respect that as well. And certainly they deserve it. They're some of the best. They do their job as as well as anyone in the league, whether you're talking about CD, whether you're talking about a Dak, a Micah, a Diggs. All those guys play at a high level, and they deserve to be paid.
Talking with Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones joining us here on the Invasion on the Ticket. You bring that up, and Donnie and I have had this conversation because if you look at, and we just go off, not that it's going to be these numbers, but if CD is going to be 35 and Micah wants to have 35 and Dak is 55, whatever it is, collectively you're paying three guys more than any other grouping of three from any team in the NFL, and it's not close because
Right.
Miami, what they just did, that puts them a little over $111 million for their top three guys. Detroit's right up there as well, but you guys are looking at 125, 127. Is it plausible to do something like that with the gap that big between your three and any other team?
Well, that's the discussions we're having with our three, and really our two right now. Micah's, 1 year behind CD in terms of where he is in the, in terms of his career. But no, we're having those discussions, and obviously we can do it, but it just may really limit, and you really got to draft well and develop well if you're going to go with the younger, less expensive guys, especially. Where that comes from is success in the draft and having these walk-in guys who can play. Certainly, we all saw Guyton running with the ones yesterday at left tackle. I mean, unfortunately, no one wants to lose a Hall of Famer in Tyron Smith, but, we had to make that tough call. You got to have guys who step up. We didn't want to lose Biotic. He was homegrown, and, we think a lot of him, but we had to make a tough decision there. Now BB's competing and with Hoffman, and I think they'll do a hell of a job. The competition there will bring out the best in both of them, and I think they'll do a hell of a job replacing Biotic at the end of the day.
Executive Vice President Stephen Jones on with Donovan and Matt here, live from the Cowboys training camp. During the State of the Team address, we heard you guys talk a lot about the understanding of the frustration of the fans about the way things have ended here in the last few years. Does it feel a little bit different because of the way the Green Bay game went along? Like, we've had playoff battles with San Francisco, and they went down to the wire. But this one, man, was kind of a kick to the pants right there at the very beginning. Is that a different feeling that you're feeling from everyone? Or is it kind of just, hey, you losing the playoffs is kind of the same thing?
Yeah, it's not a different feeling because we feel the same way. I mean, very frustrating. And whether it's Jerry and I, whether it's our coaching staff, whether it's our players, no one has a good taste in their mouth when you have that kind of ending to what was shaping up to be a really good season. I mean, obviously, over the 3 years, we've won, as many games as anyone in the NFL in the regular season. But we do have to solve and understand our fans are going to be frustrated, angry, until we do solve that puzzle. And we can start big and go win a lot of games in the regular season, and everybody's going to just take a wait and see till you get to the playoffs. And no one's assuming around here that we're going to win 12 games and go to the playoffs. That's a lot of hard work. It takes having a really good football team to win 12 games in this league. But I still know what our fans and certainly media is going to be saying, well, let's just see if we were fortunate enough to go out there and win 12 games again. But they're still going to have the wait-and-see approach of let's see how they do in the playoffs. But, we just feel like, with the leadership of a guy like Dak, the leadership of a guy like Coach McCarthy, who's had success, knows how to win big games, been to multiple championship games, won Super Bowls, that we'll solve this equation. But in the meantime, we certainly understand there's frustration and anger in terms of, but we want our fans to care. The last thing you want is apathy. And, and you don't want, you want your fans to care and be involved in it. And certainly we feel like we have that.
But the conversations you guys had, is that a concerted mindset in the front office to kind of, because we all heard the all-in from Jerry, and I think everyone kind of gravitated to that. But with the way it feels like the contracts are set up with the coaching staff and maybe even some of the players, it kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like you guys are pushing them all in right for this season, and if nothing good happens, then it's going to kind of basically kind of start over. Is that a conversation you guys have at all?
We don't really have the conversation on the length other than Jerry made a conscientious decision. We did not to renew the coaches' contracts. And we've had that happen before and renewed them all. Jason Garrett played a final year of his contract along with his staff, and had a great year and renewed all of them. So, it doesn't mean that in any way that Coach McCarthy's not going to be here, along with what we feel like is one of the best staffs in the league with Coach Shoddy and Zim and Bones, and we feel like we've got a great group of guys. And but at the same time, we also understand, we're always Mike is, with his messaging with the team is how important it is going to be, one, because it's certainly not a given. It's hard to win a football game in this league. They pay their guys $250 million too. Almost every team meets that cap standard. And so no one around here is assuming we're going to roll the ball out there and, we'll go get the 12 games and then let's fix this playoff issue. We just got to start day one game at a time, and we feel like we've got the right group of guys, right leadership in the room to go do that.
And it's interesting because you bring up apathy, and there's guys like me that grew up in the Cowboys family, that you guys could go 0-17 every year, and I'm going to watch every game and invest because that's my team, and that's what I do. But this younger generation, I have a brother who's 33. He has no conscious memory of the Cowboys ever winning a Super Bowl. What do you say to that younger fan that doesn't know what that's like, that hasn't been around for the Super Bowls and have those glory days?
I just think the message is sit in here and hang in here with us. We got a great group of players. We got 14 Pro Bowlers, 12 All-Pros that are on this team. I think it's a very entertaining team to watch that has had success. As I said, I think we've won as much, if not more, games in the regular season than anybody. We've just got to go out there and execute and win a playoff game when the time comes. And I would tell a young person when that does happen, there's nothing like it.
So, Stephen, I think a lot of when you speak from the fans' mindset, the inactivity sometimes that you feel that's going on during, free agency period and all that, trying to build a team. And you guys truly, truly trust the younger guys that you drafted to develop and come in here and make a difference and step up and all that. But as a fan, I guess sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around, like you see other teams doing things and you see the team that you like really not participating in it. Is that – and you guys have had this strategy for a while. And it's had a successful regular season, but you guys just can't get over the hump. Is there any thought of saying, you know what, let's see if we can change this because we've been doing this for a while and it hasn't produced how we want to. Let's see if we can go down a different path.
We all just mentioned, between the three guys, if we want to go that route, which we do because we think they're rare, then that limits what you can do, and you have to complement what you're doing, which is a challenge with three guys, and go the draft route and go the young draft and develop type route. And the decision to make would be, hey, let's don't do these three high-end guys and let's just spread it out and, start over and do it with lesser guys. And then we can go out and we can play in free agency and get a lot of players that other teams didn't want, so they let them walk out the door and go that route. We think we're better off going with these rare players like a CD, like a Dak, like a Micah, and keep them in the trenches. They're homegrown and developed right here, and we have so much respect for them that we think that they are champions and they'll eventually make it happen.
Does there come a point with a guy like Dak at this point in his career, when you look historically at quarterbacks that have gotten Super Bowls, a lot of them are doing it by this point, that you look at it and say, as great of a leader as he is, as great of a quarterback we think he is, he just doesn't have whatever it is to get over the hump in the playoffs?
Yeah, I'd say Matthew Stafford. It took him a long time. A homegrown guy right there from Highland Park. And he stepped up and got in the right situation and made the plays, and he was the reason they won a championship. And I think it's just getting the chemistry, the right team together at the right time. And certainly Matthew did that with the Rams after having a long, long career in Detroit of not even winning 12 games from. I mean, he didn't win a lot of games there in Detroit, but Matthew Stafford's a champion. He's an elite quarterback, and he got on the right team at the right time with the right chemistry, and they won a championship.
So I know you said you didn't watch a lot of Hard Knocks, but it's almost like the Giants misread the running back room in the NFL and how the money was being paid to the running backs. And we were thinking, I wonder if that was the narrative around the league not knowing where, because we always talked about devaluing the position, and then all of a sudden they started getting money that I think a lot of people didn't expect. Did it surprise you when the running backs in free agency got that amount of money the way we've talked about the devaluing of the position?
I think each team, it only takes one team.
Right.
And one team to have a vision. I mean, San Francisco, hats off, they had a vision for McCaffrey. And they got him for a second-round pick, and his career was supposed to be on the down, and they had a vision for him. I think the Eagles obviously have a vision for what they think Saquon can do for their football team. I think every team has to have a vision, and then you've got to pay where you think that fits in your cap, and you got to pay accordingly to what you think that guy can bring to the table in terms of helping you win a championship.
But it got me thinking about pop culture references, historical moments from that year. And if these guys know anything, like has anything from 1984 made it into their brain pan and stuck?
Right. It's obviously before their time because these are guys that are all born
in the
late 90s, early aughts. So it's stuff that maybe their parents introduced them to. Maybe they've just absorbed, but certainly they don't remember it. But how much of that 1984 pop culture is so omnipresent that a young Dallas Cowboys player could fill in the blank?
And these are, layup questions for us. Like the easiest things you could possibly ask or answer.
Yeah, so Corby prompted me, and I came up with a 10-question quiz about pop culture in 1984. And again, so I give them a category, and I give them kind of a clue or a question, and then I give them the answer with one blank that needs to be filled in.
Yeah.
Okay? And so we have a representative of the offense, Rico Dowdle, and we have a representative of the defense, Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you want to play this? Do you, Bob and Corby, want to flip a coin? Do you want to choose your fighter? How do you want to do this?
I'll let you have Micah.
Choose your player.
I'll take Rico Dowdle.
I was going to take Rico,
Okay,
actually. I wanted you to have Micah.
All right, I'll take Micah.
Okay. This is going to, I imagine.
Rico's older.
Yeah.
I imagine this is going to be controversial. We'll find out why as we listen. But let's start with Rico Dowdle fighting for the offense. 1984 pop culture fill-in-the-blank quiz. Rico Dowdle, what year were you born?
1998.
Okay, so I'm old. All the dudes that I work with are old. And so we have a hard time the fact that nothing from our childhood is remembered by guys that are your age. So I just want to see, like 1984 is like a peak pop culture year. So I'm going to give you some fill-in-the-blank questions and see if you can fill in the blank, okay?
From 1984?
1984.
I know nothing about 1984. Come on, let's try.
Maybe. It's pop culture, so maybe. All right, first, movies. The biggest movie of the year in 1984, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Blank.
What? Indiana Jones and the Temple of... I have no idea.
Okay, pause it right there.
That's incredible.
Mike,
you knew he didn't know that.
Why? My kids would get that in a heartbeat.
So would
really?
my kids. So would my
Yes.
kids. Yeah.
In a heartbeat. They've seen every one of those movies a dozen times.
I think it's obvious that he would not know that. I don't think.
You don't think that Indiana Jones cut through time?
I would go so far as to say I don't know that he knows who Indiana Jones is. Like that, the name is not even familiar to him.
Okay.
I have no idea. What is it?
Doom. Temple of Doom. Okay. How about music?
Okay, let's try it.
A Texas trio of dudes with long beards.
No way.
ZZ Blank.
Whoa, what?
ZZ Blank.
ZZB.
ZZ Top.
ZZ Top?
ZZ
Okay.
Top.
I got you.
Stop it,
Again.
Dave. What are you doing?
What do you mean? Again, I think 50% of people that are 25 years old would know ZZ Top.
No, you are warped.
We should call Justin to be a control group or something.
Yeah, for real. All right, go ahead.
ZZ Top.
ZZ Top?
ZZ Top.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, how about
I'm trying to remember
politics?
this. Come on, let's go.
U.S. President won his second term in 1984. Ronald Blank.
Hold on, repeat that. President Ronald.
Won his second term in 1984. Ronald blank.
Reagan.
Yes.
Oh,
got it. Okay. Sports. U.S. Olympics women's gymnastics hero, like the Simone Biles of her day.
Yeah.
Mary Lou blank.
Mary Lou. I'm just going to guess. Mary Lou Jones.
Retton. Mary Lou Retton.
Gotcha.
Okay. How about back to music?
Okay.
The title of Prince's #1 single in 1984, When Blanks Cry.
Okay, stop.
Yes.
Stop. This is an interesting one. When blanks cry. See, he'll know who Prince is, but he probably only knows like
Purple Rain.
1999 and Purple Rain. You know, he'll know.
I feel like
I don't
Doves
think
Cry would be the song I would.
When Doves Cry did not. It was huge at the time, but it did not seem to have as long a shelf life.
It's never gone away.
Purple Rain.
But if I could give somebody
Prince himself
one-
didn't even perform that when he did the Super Bowl.
This would be the one Prince song I would want to share with somebody on.
Me too.
How good was Prince? This would be
Really?
the song I would
Me
pick.
too.
Yeah.
Man, I thought When Doves Cry was just kind of
love
middling at best.
All right.
Yeah, I think that he will not get this.
Okay.
But he could get other Prince songs.
Retton. Mary Lou Retton.
Gotcha.
Okay. How about
Wait,
back to
it was
music?
When Mary Lou Retton cries?
No, shut up.
I've had that wrong.
The title of Prince's #1 single in 1984, When Blanks Cry.
Man. Women. Man.
Doves. When Doves Cry.
Doves.
You ever heard that song?
No, sir.
Okay.
heard
How about
Doves?
movies? Back to movies. In The Karate Kid, when Johnny fights Daniel,
No.
Johnny is instructed to, quote, sweep the blank.
Feet.
Close. Sweep the leg.
Leg.
Sweep the leg. Okay. How about back to sports? MVP of Super Bowl 18 also banged OJ's wife.
No.
What?
Marcus blank.
Marcus
Aurelius.
Simpson.
Close. Marcus Allen.
Allen.
Okay.
Pause it right there. He's a freaking Hall of Fame
It
running
doesn't
back.
matter. Corby, these guys don't know players that came before them very much. They just don't.
Yeah.
They don't need to. Anything they need to know, they can look up. They're not going to have it in their mind.
All right.
Allen.
Okay. Couple more. TV. The Good Old Boys, Never Meanin' No Harm on Dukes of Hazzard. Blank and blank Duke. They were cousins. Blank and blank.
Dumb and
Duke.
Dumber.
Bo and Luke.
Bo and Luke.
Okay.
I used to watch that show. I just don't remember that.
Bonus.
How did
Can
you
you
watch
name the female cousin's name? Blank Duke. She has shorts named after her.
Jean.
Daisy Duke. Remember
Daisy
Daisy Duke?
Duke?
Okay.
I know the name. Daisy.
All right. Back to movies.
Come
The
on.
name of the exchange student in 16 Candles. Long Duck Blank.
I don't even know what 16 Candles is.
You haven't seen that with Molly
No.
Ringwald?
No.
If her family forgets her 16th birthday?
No, sir.
Long Duck Dong. That was the
Long Duck
exchange
Dong.
student. Okay, last one.
Come on.
Music. The title of Cyndi Lauper's debut single. Girls Just Wanna Have
Fun.
Blank. Yes! Hell yes, brother.
I got about 2 right.
Thank you, Rico.
It was an unconvincing brother that Dave used there. You didn't nail that convincingly culturally.
My brother. All right, brother.
So,
Neither did Corby.
so Rico Dowdle, 2 correct.
Buster Bluth.
Yeah.
Are we
Got
right?
Yeah.
2 correct. All right. Let's carry this over,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yep.
And when we come back, we will hear if Micah Parsons can beat 2 to bring home a victory for the defense.
All right, it's 5:57 here on the Hardline with an extended jam of rant and fun. We're in the middle of our little 1984 pop culture quiz that we gave to Rico Dowdle and now Micah Parsons representing the defense.
Yeah, so Rico Dowdle got 2 out of 10.
Yep.
He knew that Ronald Reagan won his second term in 1984, and he knew that the first Cyndi Lauper single was "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." Well, he didn't.
He didn't know
He didn't
she
necessarily
did it.
know.
He was able to complete the
He was
phrase
able
"girls
to
just
fill
want to
in-
have."
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was able to fill in the blank. So yes,
I would have said real orgasms, but okay.
Huh.
Now we get to hear the
give your mom an
defense's
orgasm?
response.
I'm almost guaranteeing he gets Indiana Jones.
Micah Parsons?
Yes.
Micah Parsons will do better, I believe.
Yeah, I would like to switch my pick now, if you don't mind.
All right. Well, let's see how Micah does. Rico Dowdle is representing the offense. You want to represent the defense, Micah?
Yeah, let's go.
We're all old dudes that work at the Ticket, and so we're trying to see how much young dudes know about peak pop culture in 1984, okay? So it's fill in the blank. It's fill in the blank. All right, movies. The biggest movie of the year, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Blank. Got it? Give up?
Yeah,
Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom. Okay, how about music? A Texas trio, 3 dudes, 2 of them had real long beards, ZZ Blank.
Oh my God.
You're getting help
Tops.
over here. ZZ Top, okay. How about
get help there?
politics?
Yeah.
The U.S.
Okay.
Who's cheating?
So that doesn't count as a point.
So Micah was doing quite a bit of post-practice loitering the other day because he had a large family members there. And they were all waiting around, and he was signing autographs for kids and talking to his family, and I waited patiently. He told me that he would do it. So by the time he and I were talking,
his family was
his
around.
family was the studio audience.
And so you can't really correct them and say, hey, come on, let him try to answer it. You know, we're doing a thing.
Yeah.
So,
Do you agree he still has 0, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shut up! You're getting help
Tops.
over here. ZZ Top. Okay. How about politics? The U.S. president who won his second term in 1984, Ronald Blank.
Reagan?
Yes. Okay.
There you go.
How about 1984 U.S. Olympics? The women's gymnastics hero, like the Simone Biles of her day, Mary Lou Blank.
Lewis.
Mary Lou Retton. Mary Lou Retton.
thinking of Carl
All right,
Lewis.
music.
Mary Lou
the
Lewis.
title of Prince's #1 single in 1984, When Blanks Cry.
Loves.
Doves, When Doves Cry.
Did he get it?
No,
or
they
did I
were
yell it
yelling
out?
back
Okay,
there.
Misunderstood
so no point.
what his
Said
family was
loves.
yelling at
If
him.
you would have said, did you use that one because you thought Purple Rain was too easy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they know Purple. Like
They
Yes,
would know Purple
They-
Rain more
everyone-
than When Doves Cry.
So many high school kids have the Purple Rain t-shirt.
yeah.
yeah.
But when
Well, what
the
if-
actual single was a bigger hit, When Doves Cry was a bigger
Right.
hit.
Yes,
But
but,
if-
as I said, I don't. As I just said, I don't
As
think
I
it.
just
It
said.
didn't
As I
have
just
the
said.
shelf life that Purple Rain did.
Like if you said name, if you would have asked Micah, what is the movie that Prince starred in? Would he have got Purple Rain?
No.
Might not have, no. But if you said, could you name a Prince song? I think the 2 that are most likely to be given as answers are Purple Rain and 1999.
Okay.
Loves.
Doves, When Doves Cry. Okay, help from the Peanut Gallery again. All right, in The Karate Kid, when Johnny fights Daniel, he's instructed to sweep the blank.
You may get this.
The leg.
Sweep the leg, yes.
But not
Okay.
because he saw the movie or anything. It's just that's
Sports.
a
I
phrase.
got Ronald Reagan.
MVP of Super Bowl 18, also banged OJ's wife, Marcus Blank.
Allen.
Yes.
Whoa!
Oh, you have your MVP over here. Who are you? Who are you?
Oh. Somebody gave
His
him the
uncle.
answer.
His Unc. So Unc's what? Our age?
Yeah, pretty
Probably.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's our ruling?
I don't know if he got
No,
Marcus
that
Allen.
doesn't count.
Yeah, I think that was also fed from Uncle.
Okay.
His uncle. Okay. All right. How about the good old boys never meaning no harm on Dukes of Hazzard? They were cousins, Blank and Blank Duke.
Bo and Lou.
Bo and Luke. Luke, not
You said
Lou.
Lou.
For a bonus point, the name of their female cousin, Blank Duke. She also has shorts that are named after her.
Daisy.
Daisy
This is so
Duke.
frustrating.
Okay.
It really is.
Movies. The name of the exchange student in 16 Candles, Long Duck Blank. 16 Candles, Molly Ringwald, they forget her birthday. Her grandparents have an exchange student staying with them. His name is Long Duck Blank.
I give up on that one.
Long Duck Dong. Long Duck Dong. Okay, last one. Cyndi Lauper's #1 single that year, Girls Just Want to Have Blank.
Fine.
Yes!
Yeah, he legit got that.
All right,
Yeah,
crushed
yeah,
it,
for
bro.
sure.
Thank you.
Yo.
And thanks to the uncle for the help.
I need
Appreciate it. You give a shout out to Dallas?
Yeah, that was way I'm a Steelers fan, but I'm gonna rep my nephew's team. Great camp for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Generic.
So he's a Steelers fan because, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So he won, though, right? He was
Yeah,
1
he
point ahead.
legitimately got 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he won 3-2 over Rico Dowd.
Look at that.
So,
But
once again, these were served up on a silver platter.
I don't think they were that easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously for us, but like if he would have said, because the Karate Kid was rebooted too, and there's a Netflix series on it.
Right. He didn't watch any of that.
Like
he didn't watch any of that.
The one with Will Smith and Jackie Chan, he would have been a kid
No.
then.
No. He didn't see that. The reason he got those two is just because those are phrases that have entered the culture.
Right.
I don't know that we can
and
say
that's the thing is we were trying to find out what from pop culture has stuck, and Sweep the Leg is the
Right.
thing
Right.
that has stuck out of the Karate Kid more
Yeah.
than anything else.
So Prince singles biggest hits.
The Batman theme or something.
The top 5 singles. At number 5, the Bat Dance.
Told you.
At number 4, Cream.
Yeah.
At number 3, Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At number 2,
Purple Rain.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that was also in Pretty Woman. She was singing that too.
And at number 1, 21 weeks on the charts. 5 at number 1, When Doves Cry.
Mhm.
So Purple Rain, not even in the top
That's
5?
weird.
No.
Okay, to find
But
Purple Rain,
think-
you have to go to 8.
Think of like what is Journey known for now? Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
That was not their biggest hit, I don't believe.
No, I don't think it was either.
Boy, at number 6, Raspberry Beret. At 7, You Got the Look with Sheena Easton.
Uh-huh.
Pretty solid song. And then at 8 is Purple Rain with. It only got to number 2.
What about Manic Monday? He wrote that.
Oh yeah, he did.
But he didn't record it.
No.
He wrote When You Were Mine that
Nothing
Cyndi Lauper had a
Compares to
hit
You.
with.
Yep.
Nothing Compares to You.
The Most Beautiful Girl in the World at 9. Sign of the Times 10. Little Red Corvette 11.
See, I thought Little Red Corvette would be like top 3.
Yeah, that's like the first one I remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where Little Red Corvette topped out. It topped out at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100.
All right, so we have a little bit of bonus Micah audio.
Okay.
So this actually occurred before the quiz.
All right.
So as I am waiting for Micah to finish talking to his family, doing autographs for the kids, etc., I just start rolling on my recorder. And as I walk up to Micah and we start to talk, then Stephen Jones pops in.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen Jones has some commentary for Micah based on, I guess, something that happened at the end of practice. And then Micah volleys back to Stephen with a proposal.
Okay.
So see if you can follow all of this.
Who are you doing that to? Hendershot gonna get some? Yeah, he could. I saw y'all. All right, celebrity boxing next. Hey, can I do it at AT&T? Do an AT&T what? My celebrity boxing match. Yes.
Sell
you
it
need
out.
to be there?
Yeah.
For that fight?
No.
Yeah. What do you mean, can you do it?
No, I'm saying I want to have a fight there.
You
My
want to fight there? Yeah, I'll give you AT&T if you want to fight, but it's going to have to be after you're done playing football.
Oh, of course, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Mike
much,
is wanting
so
to
much
fight.
Stephen overlap.
Yeah.
Imagine having the power to say, "Yeah, I'll give you AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you use my 100,000 seat stadium that I own."
Mm-hmm. After you're done doing all the things I want you to do first.
Right.
So Stephen thought he was talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I think he was thinking that Micah just wanted like a suite to the boxing match.
I
But
think
no,
he thought he
wants
wanted
to
cell
fight.
service. You want AT&T? Okay,
I'll give you AT&T.
I know.
A year, and Tua signed a deal that's at $53,100 as the average annual salary, but he has now gotten his money And that leaves, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks that are making over $50 million for an average salary. And as you look at the list and you see people being signed, it feels like now Dak is pretty much the last one that is going to sign a new deal, whether it's here or somewhere else. But it's set. The money has been set, and I don't think there's any way you can go below the 55. That seems like it's the top of the quarterback chain. It's just nowhere else to go.
No, and it's really interesting too because there are 3 guys making exactly 55, and it's one of those exercises. And one of these things is not like the other because it's Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, and Joe Burrow, and one of those guys played in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Jordan Love, who just beat Dak last year, and Trevor Lawrence, who has a playoff win, but $55 million. And, really, you start looking at this and the average percentage of the cap when they signed it, and a lot of these deals that are getting done here in the last year or two are right in that range of anywhere like Joe Burrow's % when he signed it last year. But the new extensions are all right in that 21-ish% range. And you kind of wonder, if that's what we're doing, then to your point, I don't see – if you're Dak's people, how do you not sit here and go, Tua, Jordan, Trevor,
I think we have to wrap our heads around it. It's hard for a lot of people to understand. That's the nature of the NFL now. That's the position. But it's not about what you've done. It's about timing, and it's about the fact that there aren't a lot of really good quarterbacks that you feel can take you to that next level. And whether you think that the next level for Dak is not a conference championship game or a Super Bowl, he is in that mix of quarterbacks that will, if he's out there on the free agency market and there are people who need quarterbacks, that will definitely be in the mix. Every single one of them would look into getting Dak Prescott there on their team. And if you have that option, then, you're going to get $55 million a year. And it's about timing. And just the timing seems like it's just been off with this franchise here. So now you see another one, and you hear a lot of people saying, man, it's going to be $60 million. I don't know if it's going to get to that point.
I don't know that it's 60, but is it 55.5? Is it 56?
I feel like it's just about the guarantee.
Are you cool
and
with 55?
If you get the total guaranteed money higher than anyone else, I think that's whether you want to keep the average annual salary at 55. I don't think it's going to go any lower. I don't think it's going to go to Tua at 53-1.
No, and you're not going to get the full guarantee like Deshaun Watson got, and that puts Burrow behind him with the 146 and then Lawrence at 142. So, do you come in at 145 guaranteed at 55 a year? Well, ask Steven. 15 minutes.
It feels like that's
what's the offer?
rate. It feels like that's
it's right here.
Yeah.
We know the range it's going to be in, but again, and this goes back, and when we have Stephen Jones on with us here in about 15 minutes or so, the question of, because the Dolphins now collectively have the 3 highest paid players in the NFL. They just surpassed Detroit by just a tidbit, and that could go up depending on Tyreek Hill and what he wants to do. But when you look at what they're paying Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle, they're at $111.3 million. Detroit's paying their 3 guys $111. And we've talked about this. The Cowboys collectively, with what we think these 3 guys are going to be worth, around 127 to 130. Is it feasible to expect a team to spend on 3 guys $15 to $17 million more, $19 million more than any group collectively in the NFL?
That's probably the conundrum and why we're waiting for so long. And we always talk about the reactive and proactive about the contracts, but they are, if they get the deals done that everyone expects them to get, and it's your top 3 players, they are stepping into territory that hasn't been stepped into. And that just doesn't feel like that's the Dallas Cowboys way to set that standard. It felt like they've set a couple that kind of backfired. But can you just up the game right now? Or is it that Dak sees the writing on the wall and he says, okay, he doesn't want to reset it, I don't think, but he does feel like when you start naming these quarterbacks, Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, but Jordan Love put the resume up against his.
Well, he beat you.
Well, that one game, yeah. But then even Trevor Lawrence and Tua, they haven't been to a championship game since the Cowboys have been. They're in the same boat. And they just opened the wallets and made that deal.
Yep.
So it seems like it just shouldn't be any hesitation at all unless it's a point to where you have the numbers that they're trying to get astronomical. And that we don't know because we heard the news that they put contract numbers out for both Dak and CD, and now I guess they're waiting to get the response, and it's the negotiation part.
It's the back and forth.
So you just never know what's being offered or what's being asked, and it's somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Like we have no idea. We can't get the inner workings, but it would seem like it's just a simple equation of this is what's out there, this is what it's expected, so let's get it done. But you just never know who's asking for the limit and who's asking for you to, can you just help us out a little bit? Take this. We'll make it up on the back end. But I just don't know how many more contracts you have to sign to say you can make it up on the back end. Like we applauded Jalen Brunson for taking that deal when he signed it, and he left a whole lot of money on the table. But in a couple of years, they can make up the deal that he missed out on. So, yeah, you're still getting crazy paid. You left some money on the table, but you're going to make that up because of his age. Like, this may be the last big deal he gets.
For Dak, yeah.
Right. So why aren't you going to wait and see if you can get as much as you can, because this is probably it.
Yeah, that's where I would think. And he mentioned this the other day about talking – at some point you can't sit there and say, I'm going to take significantly less, because you're setting with this group. It's the grouping of quarterbacks. And if one of them says, oh, you know what, everybody's getting 53, 55 million, I'm going to take – you know what, let's just give me 48. Then other agents can now go to or teams can go to those agents and say, well, Dak did it over here. And so we don't have to set the bar. And, you know, I think the one guy who would sit here and want to get that is CD, because he hasn't had, and again, this is the generational wealth contract that these guys signed, that second contract. He saw Michael Gallup blow out his knee and never be the same.
Right.
This is why he's holding out, pay me. And who knows where we're going to be in 4 or 5 years, but that's why those guys' second contract always, Mike, is going to be the same way.
It's crazy because it feels like at that position, wide receiver, the second one is probably the biggest one. It feels like quarterback may be like the third.
It could
because
be
you have
depending
the
on where-
rookie
right.
one, the young one, and then it feels like you can play the position a little bit longer than you can at wide
Right.
receiver. So right now, you got to try to get it.
Seagulls are pretty evil.
And I feel like these seagulls are kind of rough around the edges.
What does that mean?
They emulate the town.
What?
And so they probably don't eat well. And so like that was that color that I saw on the back of your shirt, I've never seen from any bird ever.
It was definitely the color of a skid mark.
Gross.
It wasn't. It wasn't
fun.
White bird doo-doo.
No, it wasn't white. It was like bird
What did you
diarrhea.
What did you do with that shirt when you got back to your room last night?
Put it in the shower.
Put it in your mouth.
Gave it a shower.
Did you? Sprayed it down?
It's a brand new T-shirt, man.
That sucks.
I know. What am I supposed to do now? Burn it?
I don't know, but he got out. He got out to put gas in the car yesterday. By the way, executed perfectly. No worries whatsoever.
You're an idiot.
We ran the gas tank down to where it said like 4 miles.
Do you think Simple Corby drives with a fuel light on until it's down to 1?
Simple Corby probably has someone that gasses it up for him.
I let the car decide when to fill it.
He has
up.
never filled up his own tank.
God, my grandma
never did.
Not one time. She didn't know how to do it. My grandpa filled the car up for her every single time.
That's chivalry right there.
No, it was him keeping her down. Didn't want her to gain knowledge,
so she could run
keeping
away.
her dependent.
Right?
Yeah,
she can only go as far as one tank of
one
gas.
tank of gas. He knew the radius.
That's kind of smart.
Where she could get to, so he could track her down each time and bring her back.
Okay, so the story that's sponsored.
Eatsy's Market and Bakery.
Thank you, Eatsy's.
The story that's grabbing everyone's attention over in Gay Paris. One is Simone Biles, who we've already covered as a sports station.
You did a great job.
Thank you. The other is this Algerian boxer. Girl Algerian boxer.
Just
named
woman.
Amain Khalif.
Right.
When today she beat somebody from Italy.
Angela Carini.
Yes.
Beat her in 2 punches, right?
Yeah. 45 seconds into the fight, the lady tapped out. She's like, I'm done, because she said that she couldn't handle the pain.
Her nose was broken.
Her nose was broken. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's a terrible thing. But she said she couldn't handle the pain anymore. And then, of course, the story starts to come out about this Algerian boxer who was banned from competition because of elevated testosterone levels. This was a couple of years ago. She was banned by the governing body, International Boxing Association. IBF. Terrible thing. Disease.
Didn't you have a friend that had that, Dave?
One of my ex-wives had IBF.
This is the International Boxing Federation. I
Oh,
believe.
yeah.
I was thinking of impossible butt syndrome.
So now she somehow gets by whatever the IOC regulators. I'm not sure
That's a congresswoman, right?
What's different about their governing body.
Well, yeah, they have different rules, right, Bob?
Yeah,
The criteria to compete is more stringent
in the IBF.
Yeah.
Because they do boxing all the time. The Olympics, the IOC is broader to every single sport, and so the drug testing and the in this case the testosterone levels are not measured. In fact, I think I was reading today that they pretty much just kind of look at the gender on your passport. And so this has caught fire because we live in an age where anybody tweeting anything on social media just gets shared and nobody vets it. And so before long, this girl from Algeria is a dude.
Yeah, the narrative is that this is a trans boxer, which is not the case.
It's absolutely not the case, and so much so that she literally fought in the 2020 Olympics as a woman, and this has not been an issue until in 2022 she was flagged for abnormal testosterone levels, which is...
But it is a little bit more complicated than just, hey, she's not a guy, and so
this is a very complicated issue. I'm simply saying social media
has just turned it into
simply saying she
was a dude last week and then just switched it and then got in the boxing ring.
Yes, this is another case of transgender males dominating our girls in women's sports at a ridiculously unfair level, and we need to take sports back from the transgender males who are trying to win all these championships at all levels. And I guess that actually does exist. I guess there are cases where it does happen, but for the most part, it is a social media wildfire that is the catnip of society, because I think I'd like to think everybody on either side of any political divide our country definitely has agrees that men are absurdly unfair matchups for women in most sports.
Yes, I would think so too.
And therefore, the competing. The blurring of the gender lines to say that if you identify a certain way, you should be able to participate in that gender's sports is flat out nonsense for, I want to say, 99% of society.
I think everyone agrees.
Like, this is not a 50-50 push-pull culture war issue.
We're all saying the same thing.
We all agree that there's a reason in every track and swimish
but
swim
if
event
someone
in
identifies as a woman and they were not identified that way at birth and they grew up male and they switch, that does happen. And we've seen it in certain high-profile sports.
Yeah.
How do you adjudicate that matter?
I feel
have
like
the Olympics ever had to make a ruling on that? Has anyone made it that far?
Honestly,
I don't think the Olympics have.
When you get into
but this athlete has basically DSD, or has an intersex.
DSLs?
No. It's differences of sexual development. It's like a whole host of conditions, genetic
like Jamie
conditions.
Lee Curtis.
And yes, she has an intersex situation. I don't know what you call it. But
like it's kind of like, is it
like
is it
Jamie Lee
in
Curtis?
or is it out?
No, Jamie Lee Curtis is I believe she's XY chromosome.
Yeah, and I believe that was a thing long before we decided to culture war this sort of thing, right?
Right.
And I think that's a very reasonable possibility that this Algerian girl does have something similar to that.
And it's a weird case because it's not her fault she has this. This is not like her trying to game some system.
No.
So you can't even make that argument.
Well, and it's got to be.
But how do you account for if someone has the biological advantage of being intersex and having masculine levels of testosterone that does in some way make them an unfair in a different division, let's say, than other women.
And I want to admit, if I may speak for all of us, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about when we start talking about levels of testosterone in a woman and what's natural and what is too far for a athletic governing body to say this is fine.
Right.
They have obviously flagged this girl and another girl from Taiwan. I want to say.
Woman.
Thank you, Gordon, for being above the range
Threshold.
of acceptable levels of testosterone in women athletes.
So the IOC says everyone competing in the women's category is complying with the competition eligibility rules. They are women on their passports, and it's stated that this is the case, that they are female. So you're right.
That's very bothersome. That all it has to do is say female on your passport,
right?
Because that does feel like
not
a
even
loophole.
Not even your birth certificate.
That does feel like that does feel like a loophole. And to your point, Gordo, how do we handle the actual transgender community as it pertains to sports? I have to be honest. I kind of think you got to use birth certificate for sports. I really do. I know some people.
But what if someone was misgendered on their birth certificate? Then what do you do?
What does that mean?
Well, they made a mistake and said that they were.
Well, if it's a typo, or are you? What do you mean make a mistake?
Or the doctor didn't bring their glasses to work that day.
I'm just saying that some people, if they transition.
Yes. No. Look, there are people that make that decision, and it frees them, and they've been carrying a burden with them, and I want to be sensitive to that, but.
And that's the thing. We all want to be sensitive to it, but the way that the conversation goes is we never have productive conversations about it because everyone kind of knows the verbal tactics to win the culture.
I know,
argument,
but like when we talk gun control, you have two groups of people that might be a very similar size that have for and against points, and there's a real argument that feels like the country is divided. Nobody is on the other side on this that says a man who transitions should be allowed to choke slam a girl in wrestling.
I think that there are people who would say that if someone transitions, that they should be allowed to compete in.
And then I would argue they know nothing about sports or the human body as it pertains to competition.
Okay,
a
lot of people.
Now that might be out of school. Maybe
there's a lot of people who say that biology is biology, and this talk is just crazy. And
there's a reason.
Obviously, it's more
From
complicated.
a 100-yard dash to a mile to any swim distance to any weightlifting or anything like that. We have to be able to agree that men are X percentage stronger and faster and bigger. We know this. We all know this to be true.
I know
that's the purpose of testosterone,
right? And so in this case, just to go back to the story of the day, and it's frustrating that this Algerian is being called a male.
Yeah, I mean,
everywhere, and people are just reading it and saying, "Well, that's horrible,"
and
it's not true.
Her opponent took those 2 shots. She had to tap out. She wouldn't even shake the hand of this. She declared this is unfair.
And I would say a few things.
That's bad sportsmanship.
First of all, I think. Yes, and I would say the Italian woman who lost, has lost like 24 other fights and is over 500 as a fighter, but. the narrative that
she wasn't going to medal
this
anyway.
She was not going to medal anyway. You don't have 24 losses as a fighter and go win the gold. And the story that her dad just died is just adding to the social media. I have to share this with everybody. This is an injustice.
Sure.
Now, you do have to have limits on testosterone. You absolutely do. But, and I don't know what those should be, but this is not a dude. This is a female who has been boxing for a long time in a country where transgender practices are illegal, Algeria, and she has been in previous Olympics as a woman fighter.
She's
and no
followed all the rules.
And she's lost 9 fights to
Yeah.
women.
Right. It's not like it's
the idea
Evander Holyfield in there.
the idea that Tyron Smith is winning a female gold medal boxing by just one punching these girls in the next week is wrong. It's just, but it's how we consume news nowadays is that it's a game of telephone, and whatever Twitter feed you follow or the For You tab, which is all this today, it's just such a cesspool of misinformation
but we all
that nobody
insist,
knows the actual story.
But we all insist we're not being gamed. Everyone thinks that they actually are able to tell what's true and what's not. Based on just the last tweet?
Did you think on a Thursday in Oxnard at Cowboys camp that we would be talking about what the genitalia of an Algerian female boxer looks like?
Yeah. We were talking about that on the plane.
I did.
Probably it was going to come to that.
We knew that we'd kind of had this date circled for a while, but
it's a really, really weird place. In
why
this world.
don't we just go to testosterone divisions? Like we don't have male and female. If everyone's going to act, everyone feels they're very confused by what is men and what is a woman and all that stuff.
Like if you're between this range and this range,
you compete in this division.
You're in the high T division.
Yeah. And then we can even divide it further in that we do it by weight class, age, and then testosterone. Those are the 3 variables that we go by.
I like testosterone.
Okay, thank you, Simple Corby.
It seems to me like it's one of those things that gets people all fired up. I would love to see, and please don't send me links from
the Blaze,
incredibly slanted websites that feed off the culture war.
I'm
talking about actual
Tommy
vetted
Lauren
stories.
has to say about this.
Dude, please, my God, please don't send me that crap. but it's one of those things where. It's almost like, like bathroom stuff. Like
what?
Like guy going in
doo-doo.
little girls' bathrooms or whatever.
Like hot Carls.
Like the actual number of cases versus the number of social media power it has to
it's
poison
way out of
everybody's
whack.
mind.
I get you that it's way out of whack.
My mom is scared.
Oh yeah,
of public bathrooms.
Are you serious?
Because that's the industry.
Oh,
we have to scare people.
Right.
And I'm simply saying, I want to believe 99.9% of Americans agree. Men should not be in women's wrestling, women's boxing, any sort of physical sport.
But then you get into, what is a man and what is a woman? If someone does transition and they legitimately
they are welcome to transition.
With good intention.
I have nothing to say on that
should they
matter.
be able to compete against
And that's why I like Gordon's solution, because whether it doesn't matter what you identify as, what you present yourself as, it is a factual element that you have X amount of testosterone in your system, and that puts you in this classification.
But most of it's just like genetically born. And that's why I kind of think birth certificate gender should probably be attached to you as you compete.
Yeah, but then you do have these cases like this athlete, if she is indeed has an intersex situation, then that could go either way. You could argue each way.
Yeah,
and then it's up to her to determine what she feels like she is.
I will admit I don't have the answers.
Right.
I will also admit it's extremely frustrating to hear this is a dude all day when it's clearly not.
Right.
It's not a dude. It's a girl with inflated testosterone levels.
Yes.
Which maybe
but some people will.
You're just born that way.
The end.
Yeah. The end.
That went well.
If you have comments on this, send it to Bob.
Yes.
Or Bob is the one who came up with a strong
And then normally they'll sit down if you just stand up. But if a dude would have taken that seat when I offered it for her, I would have said, well, I offered that seat to her, so she needs to sit there. I would have said that's probably the only
Man, I thought about, of course, the guy wouldn't look at me, and I don't even know if it crossed his mind. Like, he was just talking to his little group that he was with. And I don't know, maybe if it had been a different scenario, I might have said something, but I don't know that he would have understood me very well.
Oh.
Because they were speaking a different language to each other. So I don't know if he would know what I was trying to communicate.
Were there females in the group he was talking to? And he
No.
took, just
like a group of
dudes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they looked like, I would assume they were here for business purposes.
Okay.
They kind of look like that, but I don't know.
Dude, that is the
Generic.
biggest jerk move ever.
Yeah,
And
I thought
think
so.
That's the only time I may have tried to say something.
Man.
Like, seriously? Like, come on, man. I
okay.
offered this seat to this female, and you should too.
Yeah.
What if it wasn't like a little dude and it was a big old jack dude that just sat down as you were trying to offer your seat?
Wouldn't have bothered me a bit to say, come on, man.
Yeah, I just thought, I think I was so just like, wow. Just shocked, honestly, that would have happened. I mean, how long does it take for you to get up, touch somebody on the shoulder, be like, excuse me, did you want to sit down?
And then the seat is taken
and
already.
then you turn and that guy.
What did you think you got up for? What did you got up to get something out of the bag or something?
I mean, dude.
Oh,
okay?
that may be the biggest jerk move we've had since we started this segment.
I mean, it was special.
That's terrible.
It was special.
And it's something about that because I do offer at my seat every single time.
And I was glad because the woman that I was going to offer the seat to or whatever, she got off like 2 stops later, so she wouldn't have been sitting down long. But there was other women on there that easily could have taken the spot. What have you? I mean, it didn't have to be that guy.
What a jerk.
Man, I agree. 100% jerk.
Yeah, you are a big jerk.
All right. Hey, boys. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I'm minding my own business, cutting my grass, and I just watched a Muscle T Backward Rangers hat 10 tats dude with the Texas Edition GMC Sierra spent 30 minutes trying to back a little 10-foot U-Haul trailer into his mom's driveway. He eventually quit, drove around the block, and just parked it perpendicular on the street. One, backing up a trailer, especially with an audience, can be one of the most stressful experiences on the planet. 2, I hate to say this, but if it had been a woman or a young guy, I would have offered to help. 3, my father-in-law would have immediately gone over to help this guy. Am I the jerk for watching this guy fail at this test of manhood? Am I the jerk for thinking you shouldn't wear a muscle tee if you can't back up a trailer?
Okay.
The last part might be a step
Man,
too far.
I don't think he's a jerk. I think I bet most of us would be surprised at how many people would struggle in that scenario.
Oh, I would definitely struggle. And I may think that you may be a jerk if you can do it and just watch me struggle and not even offer to help. I think it's a little bit of a jerk
I don't know. I mean, is he supposed to walk over there and like, let me park your truck
for
you?
Entertainment.
Yeah,
and
I don't
see you're being entertained.
Sure.
You know, if you have your popcorn popped and you're like sitting in your windowsill laughing maniacally as they're trying to do it, that's jerk behavior. But you have no obligation to help.
It's no obligation, but you see me struggling.
They also don't know that you know how to do it if you are the one watching either.
But that's the point of going over and saying, hey, I'll help you out. He just said his father-in-law would have helped out immediately.
But then what are you going to do with that 30 minutes of entertainment that you've lost?
Because he had on a muscle tee. He just decided, hey, man, he knows what he's doing. So he's just like backing up himself.
Like somebody, I don't think I would ever go over to somebody I don't know.
Yeah.
And be like, excuse me, if you want, I can back that up for you. I wouldn't do that. Like, it's not my problem. You don't know how to do it.
Hop in your car.
That's interesting to me that people would come over and be like, hey, let me. I mean, like, what if somebody doesn't know how to parallel park and you see them struggling with it? Would you, whatever you're doing, walk over and be like, hey, if you want to get out of your car, I'll parallel park it for you.
Drive off.
Yeah. I mean,
honking the horn, laughing.
I don't know, man. That's interesting.
Well, if it's in front of the house and you see me struggling, I would think.
I mean, I
would appreciate the help, especially if I'm really struggling. Like parallel parking on the street, that's difficult just to say, hey, man, I'll parallel park it for you. I think that's a different ball game than you trying to back up a trailer in a neighborhood.
I think at minimum, maybe.
Okay, maybe
he should have gone out and at least been out there trying to direct him, like which way he needs to turn the wheel, that sort of deal.
That helped. That would have been appreciated. I'm saying maybe it's
anybody
less
can do
jerk
that.
behavior, but it would have been really nice if he would have walked over there and helped.
It would have been really nice, but you're not a jerk if you don't. You're not a jerk if you're just watching them.
Especially if that guy's wearing a muscle shirt and a backwards hat.
It's always majority rules. So you guys are saying he's not a jerk, right?
Not a jerk.
Okay.
You're a real jerk.
Not a jerk.
Okay.
No, not a jerk.
Hi, Matt and Donnie. Today I went to use the bathroom in the lobby of our apartment. When I entered, I found what looked like a 9mm pistol just sitting there unattended on top of the toilet paper near the toilet. I first called security, and they said to report it to 911 to submit to evidence. I was careful not to touch it. After waiting 50 minutes for police to arrive, what I found out would be the owner showed up to claim it. I told him I am waiting for the police to arrive, but obviously I would not stop him from taking his gun back. He looked both embarrassed and nervous, but not at all a sketchy figure. He told me he did not live there, but didn't want to poop in his girlfriend's bathroom, so he must have accidentally left it overnight. He asked me to call and cancel the 911 call, and I refused and let him know I was still going to report it, and I had his license plate number and photos of the gun as well. Police never arrived after an hour, so I left his name, vehicle info, and gun info to Dallas police. Am I the jerk for involving the police and not canceling the report when the owner retrieved his gun? There are kids that live in our apartment, and I wanted this guy reported because of the sheer negligence of leaving his pistol in a communal space overnight.
Man, this is interesting.
So did he just need to go number 2 and the holster was kind of messing up, pulling his pants down, so I'll just put the gun on the back of the toilet?
I don't think
if you have one on you, if you have a pistol on you and you don't want to go number 2, and we've all been in that position where maybe it's a new relationship, whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't need her to know you like that. So you go somewhere else to go do the damage.
Yeah.
And I guess if he's holding it and he sits down and he puts it on top of does his business and just forgets that it's there, and he goes back like, oh crap, I left my gun down there. It feels like an innocent mistake.
It does,
like
but
it.
I also
It's
understand.
also a gun.
Yeah, from the parent perspective, like what she's talking
It's
about.
a communal space. Anyone could have
I mean,
found it. Right.
If you're going to carry, which is, of course, more than your right to do so, and you've got the proper licensing for it and all that type of thing, it's also your responsibility to take care of that.
Exactly.
There are just a few things in this world, in this life, that you're just not allowed to make mistakes with, and guns are one of them.
Yeah, and then the fact that they're doing the exact right thing to say, all right, I've got to report this.
Yeah.
It's got to make sure to go through the proper channels, but then when they come back, and I think his thought is, do I just cancel everything out because the owner came down and told you exactly what happened, and you just go? But they left the information with the police.
I didn't know you could cancel a police call either.
Right, and then the police didn't even show up. So what do?
I guess
the
that's
owner
all he
comes
could
down
do.
to get it. I'm not going to say, halt, you can't take this because it's yours.
Right.
But you do have to be careful, and I think giving the information to police is not
because
behavior.
Fortunately, in this instance, nothing happened and everything turned out okay. But to
Right.
their point, I mean, that you're asking for somebody to go in there, accidents happen, whatever. Now you have some gun registered to somebody else. That's you can't be leaving your gun laying around in public spots, man.
No, I do understand,
Especially
though.
there.
You just can't go bad bathroom anywhere. But I think at that
Yeah,
one
that's true.
particular time, I would have to sacrifice and look, don't judge me. We all do this.
Or
I'm
why
trying to
didn't he
make
just
this as
leave the
quickly-
gun at her place and then walk out?
Well,
and
maybe
go?
He's in a public restroom. He's trying to protect himself.
Well, no. If you have it on you and you're just at the girlfriend's house or whatever, and you say, "Hey, I'll be right back," you're not going to take everything off, put it down, and then walk to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You just get up and go, and then you realize that you have it on. You're like, okay, well,
You know what? What if he's like Donovan and he gets naked to go number 2, and then he just put his gun down first and then stacked all of his clothes on top of that?
well, he's not going to do that in a communal space.
Well,
Plus,
I don't
everyone
know,
knows
man.
gun goes on top of clothes.
You would think so, but it's a weird thing to just leave after dropping hell in a toilet, a public toilet.
Well, a lot of things going on around there, man.
There's no doubt.
A lot of things happen. It's a lot of moving parts.
That's what happens
So,
in here.
and then sometimes you forget your phone.
that's,
Sometimes your wallet may fall out of your pocket. and sometimes you may leave your gun. You shoot
Yeah.
off out your butt, then you shoot.
Is that how you let everybody know you're done? Pow pow.
Like, man, I heard multiple gunshots. Nope.
Just
That
one.
was just my butt.
You're like, no, it was a gunshot and then an explosion. I had some heavy warfare going on in there.
A lot of Tex-Mex for lunch today.
It sounded like an AR-15 in there. Jesus.
I don't know what to tell you,
type
man.
of gun are you packing?
Just a 9mm. Oh, that thing you heard? No, that was totally
Yeah,
different.
no, that was
That
not.
sounded like a pellet gun.
That was but. All right, that's Am I the Jerk for this week. If you have any submissions, Am I the Jerk 1310.
Both very interesting scenarios today.
Yeah, your scenario was just the
Yeah,
ultimate.
mine was-
that's top notch.
Mine was
that's
hands
number
down.
one.
I think everybody agrees that guy was a jerk.
Right. I think you may be a jerk for not admonishing him,
man,
and not saying, "Hey, man,
You're a
get
real
up."
jerk.
You're right. You're right.
No, that's not jerkish behavior.
I need to take some classes and learn how to communicate
you
better.
guys fighting on a full shuttle.
With your broken arm.
Yeah, because my arm was wrapped. I had to have my arm wrapped all last weekend, so I had my arm in like this big old wrap thing that I was wearing around for a couple
Nowhere
days.
to go.
I got
Like
one arm.
fighting
Like,
in
do
the
it,
phone
Rip.
booth. Maybe that's a new sport.
His friend just like,
fighting on a full shuttle to see who wins, who comes
Man.
out on top.
golly, that'd be
An Olympic sport.
yeah, that'd be tough to do, but I'm willing to try.
The anticipation is building. The excitement.
The bag.
Oh,
So it would have been my
Junior,
fault.
Yes.
Oh no.
He almost killed the coach. He was in a good mood this morning. Now, is that just him, or does he actually like us?
I think generally that is him. He's
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it couldn't be positive.
You can't
about
help
us.
it like
No,
like
I
McCarthy.
I think it was partly us too, because did you notice when he laughed the hardest? It was when you did fake Jerry. He
Yeah,
was
he did. He did
really
laugh at
laughing.
fake Jerry.
Like he was holding it in and his face got red and he started really laughing. That was funny.
He plays the part well of no problem
Oh, no,
with Jerry.
yeah.
But you know he thinks he works in a
The
clown
whole
show.
time I was listening to him, I was going, George is having to fight back. All George is thinking about right now is fake Mike McCarthy.
Obviously,
Yeah.
no football.
Because there was so much red meat in there for you to imitate.
We had a lot of footballs and
football.
obviously and
Yon. A lot of
yos.
yons.
Yeah,
Yon.
yos. Yeah,
Yon.
yos.
Yon.
football.
He also got the sniff thing. He does that every once in a
Yeah,
while.
he don't
You know,
sniff.
you know, get out there and you do what you got to do. No, stop. You've got that one in the bag. That's one of the best impersonations you've ever done.
Well,
is
thanks,
fake
Gordon.
McCarthy. But I noticed you didn't have the courage to do it in front of him.
He didn't ask. I would have done it had he asked.
If I had asked you to do it in front
Sure,
of him, would
yeah.
you?
Too late.
Okay.
It's too late now.
All right. Remember, well, we got next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
If
remember.
Jerry re-signs him.
Yeah, we
But,
might have next year.
Yeah. But, yeah, okay, you promised to do it in front of him.
Yes, if you promise to introduce our special guest that we have in the corner.
I shall do that indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, from the program that immediately follows this one, it's the Invasion guys. It's Donnie and Matt McLaren.
Hello.
They're not
Hi,
married.
sirs.
Morning.
That's Donnie Lewis and Matt McLaren.
We did have our 1 year anniversary last night.
We
and
did.
so-
You did?
Yeah.
We did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
1 year of being a show. What have you learned in that year?
I've learned that the hamster in the wheel inside of the head of Matt McLaren is the
Never stops.
It's the most durable marathon running hamster that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
That thing just runs and runs. You've seen it. You've
Oh
seen
yeah,
the,
I've seen it, and I empathize with it
Yeah,
because
he and Matt are a lot alike. You guys are active.
yes,
Yeah.
Talking,
and
moving.
it's that ADHD kind of brain to where you're
Yeah.
always talking and verbal stemming and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
And sometimes you don't even realize it.
No.
You have a conversation with yourself and somebody's looking at you like, oh, no, sorry.
except unlike Matt, I actually get annoyed with myself. Matt never gets annoyed with himself.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Well, a lot of people do, so.
I drive myself crazy.
He was trying to verbalize something. It was here recently also. And it was a different voice, and he said, sushi? And then in his regular voice, he said, what did you say? Oh, my
Talk
God.
to himself. Yeah.
What's happening here?
We've seen it.
Now I'm glad you guys are here, and we're going to talk football with you here in just a moment.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay.
I like
Big
football.
soccer fan. That's
If that's
great.
okay. But I had an exclusive interview with Rayne Dakota Prescott. You may know him as Dak Prescott.
Oh, okay, that guy.
The official quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And this was risky. We're out on the practice field, and no one really approaches Dak because he has a separate time where he will address the media, and it's a little more formal. And so it's a slight breach of protocol to go up to Dak and ask him a question.
Major.
It's danger. Mystical has it right.
It was dangerous, but I did it. And I asked something that I thought would be ingratiating to him at first.
Okay.
So then I could hit him with something a little more serious afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't last long. I'm just warning you. This doesn't last long. Here's my exclusive interview with Rayne Dakota Prescott.
We gotta go, guys. We gotta go.
Dak, one Mississippi question.
Oh, I'm on the media today, brother.
Okay, I was just going to ask last time you've been to Mississippi.
Just this spring. Went to
Oh,
a
you
baseball
did?
game. Yeah, took my daughter and my girl.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I didn't know if you ever made it back there.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. I go back once a year. Obviously, mostly in the spring. I've only made it to one game. 2 years ago, I think, Memphis opener, and it rained out, so I didn't even stay the whole game.
And what's the deal with Jerry not signing you? Has that been weird, or? I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm just. All right, man. Take care.
Oh.
So there
My
you go.
God.
So-
Wow.
So exclusive.
My God.
Legend.
Jeez, dude.
Number one,
That
he tried to
is-
get us all kicked out of camp.
He wasn't mad.
Even
That's
he
fine.
told
Look
you,
on his
hey,
face,
this
it's
is not
fine.
my media day. He's Dak Prescott.
He knew I was just kidding around. We were having
doesn't
fun.
do sideline interviews.
That's one of the most awkward
He
things
was
I've
fine.
ever heard.
It was
Amazing.
fine. It wasn't that big a deal.
You know, I'm not trying to piss you off, but
I didn't have that much attitude.
get over it, dude.
We were smiling and laughing.
Everything
and
was
slapping
going
each
so
other's
smoothly.
Talking
You
Mississippi.
got him
back.
talking.
Nothing went wrong there.
Why did you decide to take that hard left?
It wasn't a hard left. We were you know how a conversation goes. It kind of leads itself. You know, one thing leads to another.
With
You're
you,
asking
it usually goes
God.
sideways.
very casual. It was
Why are you
very
thinking
casual.
important?
All right, you're playing Little Red Riding Hood here, but can you tell us seriously what his reaction was?
He was fine.
What did he do?
I don't know if I believe you.
Huh?
What did he do? Because he didn't say anything.
Silence doesn't sound fine.
Did he signal for security?
No.
Did he
I've
laugh?
only made it to one game. 2 years ago, I think, Memphis opener, and it rained out, so I didn't even stay the whole game.
And what's the deal with Jerry not signing you? Has that been weird, or? I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm just.
Oh,
All right, man. Take care.
All right, man. So what did he do?
Super cash. It's just totally super cash.
All right, man.
Everybody
He just smiled and slapped me on the shoulder and then walks off. We're
Did he?
fine. Yeah,
Okay.
it's cool.
why didn't you stay on the Mississippi theme and tell him your daddy played for Mississippi State? And all that?
Because I forgot that. I forgot about that. I forgot I had Mississippi ties.
You could just see everything loosening up. It was great. I
Radio
don't do media today, man. Oh, Mississippi. Oh, yeah. Let's talk.
Talking about a rain out against Memphis.
Yeah.
And
Wish you
We're
could
the
have seen
best
more.
of friends. We are the best of friends.
Was that weird?
all right, today have Samuel talk to Dak. How about that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he likes little kids.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get an autograph for him.
I'm not sure if Dak even heard me when I asked that, to be quite honest. We were moving away from each other, and it was,
All right, make yourself
So
feel
he
better,
was-
but that was
he
really awkward.
didn't even hear the question.
You
So
know,
we're fine.
I'm going to start using. I'm not trying to piss you off or anything. Around in my everyday life with the wife and everything. I'm just going to, when I ask her really bad, I'm not trying to piss you off or anything.
He was very nice and very pleasant. And he answered the question. The first one. He answered the first one.
Yeah, not really the
very
second
well.
one.
He didn't hear the second one.
Is that weird?
That's what I'm thinking. Huh? Well,
How about Jerry not extending? Is that weird?
I mean, is it? I mean, like something? I don't know. I don't know.
I think my life is worse after hearing
No,
that.
it's better.
Yeah.
It's totally better.
Even when you replayed it before you got to the question, to a man, everyone put their hands on their head, even knowing it was coming, and everyone was still
So
ashamed
uncomfortable.
and embarrassed.
I'm now waiting for the email or text from the Cowboys PR people.
We what?
I'm now waiting for the email or text from the Cowboys PR people.
Dak didn't even hear me. We were moved away from each other at that point. He didn't even hear it. We're fine. So we do need. Yeah, what if he had just yelled that at me and started running away from me? So now we need to also update, and I'm glad you guys are here for this because Craig has to update us on the contest that's going on. You know, there's a big athletic competition going on between George and myself.
It's really not much of a contest.
And we've had an awful morning.
I know.
Absolutely
I've been
awful
listening,
morning.
and it is funny that Junior did mention that you guys basically have an excuse for everything. You guys are trying to play a little Miss Red Riding Hood.
We are kind of like
Everything
Luca
you're
after a
saying.
call. What? I didn't do it.
So the competition is we're trying to not speak in drops that are older than 10 years, that have been around for 10 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a cutoff date, which is whatever this. What is this?
August
August 1st or
now.
August 2nd? Where are we?
August
1st of 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a few violations. I think George has had more than I've had, but
No.
Craig is the scorekeeper. So give us the update.
Yeah, right now it's Gordon with 19 violations this
19?
week.
Mackerel.
You had like 14 when I was listening this morning.
Yeah, and George has 10 violations. Just this morning, Gordon's had 5 and George has had 3.
Jeez.
Okay, tell us the ones that we've each had.
Okay. George's violations are having a great time.
Which is an old elf drop
Yep.
from year one of
I'll
the
accept
ticket.
that one.
Bob, obviously.
I'll accept that one.
He laughed like Deion Sanders.
I did. I called that one on myself.
He said yabub.
Which is imitation of Craig,
Craig
Way
Way drop.
that even predates the ticket.
He said, or something.
Which is
generic youth minister. He said, balls hanging down.
That's Grego.
Goaded into that one by Gordo.
I don't feel no ways tired.
Which was
Thought I
Hillary
was
from
saved.
17 years
I
ago.
thought it was 2016 campaign.
And this morning, the late great, which is
Which
Deion
my
Deion
point
Sanders.
is, this is my protest. I said that before Deion Sanders said it about it.
No,
Still
that's-
alive.
That's
Gil
what
Brandt.
That's what every guy in jail says right now. They all say that they did before Deion Sanders.
He called Gordon Little Red Riding Hood,
Mhm.
and he said it's still real to me.
Yep. Which
Those
is
were
the
his-
wrestler guy.
Last three
The
weeks.
wrestling
Here we
band
go.
guy.
Jeez.
Gordon this week
Listen
I
to
don't think
these.
I've had any, to
Listen
be
to
quite
these.
honest.
has said brother like Grego, that Grego drop. Off-air drop going to the 5A state championship game.
That one shouldn't count because
Yeah, it
no
should,
one
'cause
even.
it was 28
there-
years
other
ago.
people on our team, on our ticket team, don't even know that one.
Yeah,
Pretty
but we
good
did.
little.
Yep.
The Jim Rome great drop.
Great.
You thanked the crew like Mike thanked Aretha and Stevie and Aretha. You said thanks to our crew, Daddy and Tyler and Daddy. You did the John McKay, we'll see how it goes, talking
Yep.
to Pete Delkus. You did. Oh, you know what? You did have a double. You actually have 21. You did pretty good little twice, and the one we
I don't think
expunged.
so.
Yep.
The one
Yep,
we
yep, yep.
expunged
Yeah.
was the car talk after the John McKay drop. So
Yeah.
that's taken off your record. So you're officially at 21. You did Ho Mo, the Grego drop.
What is that? I don't even remember that happening.
Well,
You
almost
did
let
Van
himself.
Chu. Good morning, everyone.
I did
Uh-huh.
not.
You said, "Isn't it fun to laugh a little bit?" The Norm drop.
That was a serious question. I was asking you guys seriously
You
if
did
that was
the
fun or not.
AJ Clemente fun time for the disabled.
That came up naturally in conversation. That is a common
Terrible
quote. It wasn't just AJ Clemente that said that.
That is not a common quote. You, like George, had a bob, obviously. You did a meet
Obviously.
so great, so great.
I believe it was so.
The SNL drop were all black friends. You did the start of the Mickey Mantle song, Ballpark.
Yep.
And this morning, you did Fran Tarkenton Witch. You did the
I need some explanation on
which
that one.
Brenda Teal. Yes, interview with.
We had to go to
Marsha.
replay for that one.
Heard it, and it was so
That was
spot
not
on.
even. No, it wasn't. I said it completely differently than she did.
What's her name?
Marsha Cross. I think it's Marsha. I don't even know. I mean, that's so unfamiliar to me. Can we listen to those two to see if they actually are close?
Sure, if you have that ready, Tyler. What he did this morning.
Clear violation.
Sorry, let's hear her first. Can we hear her first, and then whether or not I sound anything like that? Because I don't think I had the same cadence or anything. And I mean this.
yes. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to give me a second. Sorry.
Okay, just
so that's her.
Let us know. I'll keep going down
when
the
she
list.
was talking with Brenda Teal on Channel 8.
Off-air drop. You did the I enjoy. Fill in the blank.
Okay, no one knows that one either except the three of us.
We know it.
We do.
So that's
We
all
hear
that
it all the
matters.
time.
You did the Gaylord Perry friend for my friend, and you did Pretty Good Little.
Right on the text
Partying
chain.
together
Quit
and y'all
playing
leave me
Little
out.
Red Riding.
What? What was that?
That was me saying Little Red Riding.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. All right, yeah. So we have the cross comparison. Boy, it's hard to execute these things. All right. Well, let's
21 to 10.
We will now.
Just know you have 21 violations.
And both of you have been on a roll this morning. What's going on? Are you is it fatigue from the week?
Yeah. When you get tired, you go back to muscle memory.
It's true. We have built up a lot of muscle memory in that.
He was doing kind of a Norm thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a we have built.
Yes, that was a violation.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It's gray
You're not
enough.
allowing me to talk.
You know it. You can see it in your face, and you know what you did.
I'm going to give you that one because
Don't give him
it
that
was
one.
gray
No!
enough. But I go
It's
back.
not gray.
Luca, shut up, Luca.
A P1 messaged us the other about an hour ago saying, I'm enjoying all the verbal check swings by George and Gordon, who hold up at the last second on these.
And then everyone points at the third base umpire.
Safe. He's good. He didn't go around.
That should be a violation. I can't believe you just gave him that one.
We
All
have
right,
Marsha
you need to
Clark
take
if
one
you're
off of
ready.
mine.
What? No.
No.
Oh. Okay, so listen to Marsha Clark, then listen to me.
All right, look. Okay, we got it.
And we realized,
No, listen to Marsha Clark.
Mm-hmm. Listen to Marsha Clark, and then listen to me. Marsha Clark. Marsha Cross.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we realized, mm-hmm.
Oh, right on it.
Completely different.
Yeah.
That is completely
It's the
different.
exact same thing.
It's identical.
100%
I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
Throw him out. Throw him out of the
Just
game.
like you're looking for the
Obviously.
the license plate on the sign, and the car is right there in front of it.
Oh, I'm being besmirched. Anyway, so what do you guys think about football?
What was that?
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay, great.
That's
Besmirched is not a drop.
Phil Hendry.
It is?
No, it isn't.
I'm being besmirched.
I don't think that came from Phil
You're
Hendry.
onto something, but I don't.
Was that ever
I
a
think
drop?
it's gray, like
Okay.
your
All right, let it
one
go.
was gray.
Let it go.
Donnie, Matt, isn't it funny that at dinner on Sunday, Donnie, you witnessed this, they thought they could go the whole week without one.
Right.
I did think it would be a little bit easier than this.
And we have 31 combined violations.
Because
Of
these
course.
things are flying out of my mouth before I realize it. My brain has been polluted by this radio station. And I hold y'all responsible.
Oh.
So, see, this is not even my fault.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I
So-
apologize.
When you know you have a
Yes.
problem.
Yes. this
Denial.
is-
Yeah, until you can admit it's your problem, you're not going to
It's not my
deny,
problem.
deny.
It is y'all's problem.
And there it is.
Society,
that's-
your society
That's
has
the
made,
essence of why he has
made
21
this monster.
violations right here.
Be
That's
another 10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I stand with those who stand against me.
I think at least
man.
what's come out of this is you both realize you have a big, big problem.
Yes.
Yes. It's not my
Dude,
fault,
you
but
fucking-
I'm responsible for doing something about it. Good. Are you having the best camp ever?
Again, still learning.
Have you made any new friends?
Yes, Omar Son, the D lineman, J. Raj, and Dax.
Have you all been doing lots of arts and crafts here at camp and having fun? Like staying up late, trying to crack each other up from your bunk beds?
No, we ain't staying up late. We're going to bed on time.
You had any FaceTime with Jerry Jones?
No, sir. I haven't.
What about Mike McCarthy?
No, sir.
You interested in that at all?
Probably so. Yeah, sir.
All right, you mind if I probe you?
I don't even know what that is.
Would you rather have a Super Bowl ring or have as much money as Jerry Jones?
Super Bowl ring. I always dreamed of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's smooth.
That's kind of your main goal, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But, I mean, a few $1 billion would be nice.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl, can't take that away from him.
If you were rich, what's the first thing you'd buy?
My mama house.
What kind of house?
Whichever one she want.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Yep. How old were you in January of 1996?
I wasn't even born.
Do you know what happened in January of 1996?
No, sir. What happened?
I don't know. I think they stormed the Capitol or something like that. Who's the strongest guy on the team?
Big Zach or Carl. Zach or Carl.
Carl
Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty strong.
Uh-huh. What's the best thing to happen to you, and what's the worst thing that's happened to you?
The best, making it to the NFL. The worst, not getting drafted.
For my friend who doesn't understand, could you explain Skibbity Ohio Riz?
Skibbity Ohio Riz?
Yeah.
Riz?
Yeah.
Like when you, that dude. That's all I can explain to you. That dude.
Yeah, that's when, so like if you consider yourself to having a lot of Riz? Or?
No. Michael Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
Trayvon Diggs. I got the Riz.
You ever tried to score with an ABG or a 304?
No, sir.
Can you name all of Jerry Jones' kids?
I know Steven. That's all I know. Steven. That's about the only one that come to mind right now.
That's all right. Up until a few months ago, I don't think Jerry could have named all of them. Who do you think is going to get a new deal first, Micah, CD, or Dak?
I really don't even know. I stay out of that. That's for Jerry.
What's the capital of Texas?
Capital? Got to go with Dallas. That's Jerry World.
In your opinion. Do you like pizza?
I love pizza.
What is cake?
Cake. Sweet. Sweet.
Is that your favorite dessert?
I gotta go with banana pudding.
Ah, yes. Yeah, banana pudding. The best. Name 3 past Cowboys quarterbacks.
Tony. Pass. I know Tony Romo. The good one. I can't think his name, though. That's about it.
There was one of them that won 3 Super Bowls with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right after practice, you can't think like that.
Yeah, I know. He's hard. He does commentary on football now.
Give me a hint.
Last name starts with an A.
Oops.
First name starts with a Troy.
Troy Aikman.
There you go. Yeah, you got that easily. How many innings in regulation baseball?
9 or 7. 7 to 9.
What's your favorite color?
Black.
Are you still having a good time at camp?
For sure, yes sir. Always.
And where'd you go to college?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Okay, Starkville, huh?
Stark Vegas.
Yeah. So you
Hail State.
So you're a Bulldog.
Yes sir.
Bulldog. And what number are you wearing out here?
91.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Is that your favorite number of all time, or you just get assigned it?
Just get assigned it.
Oh no.
It's okay.
That's all right.
Yes sir.
All right. Well, I'll tell Troy Aikman you said hi.
Yes sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. There you go.
Okay, so he knew who Troy was. He knew he was good, and just couldn't think of his name. We all do that. We all can't think of somebody's name.
I don't know. It didn't sound like just a typical blanking on his name.
What you said, Troy? You said,
I know, but how do you not remember Troy Aikman? I mean, the guy's he's in the number one broadcaster. He's got such a presence. I mean, has this guy ever been at the Star?
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
I mean, isn't Troy like you can't
All
walk
over,
10 feet without seeing a mural of Troy?
Yeah.
When he said Tony, and then he said, and the good one. I thought he was searching between Troy and Roger. I figured he would know Troy more because
Yeah.
Troy's more current, but there were two really good ones
Yeah.
to choose from.
Kind
Not
of
just
a
the
kind of a
good
slam
one.
on Tony too,
And Dan.
Well, there was
You didn't say
Tony, and then
Dan.
there was the good one.
And I love the capital of Texas. You
Gotta
go with
Yeah, you just got to.
I mean, gotta go with Dallas.
Yeah, you don't really have a choice.
A jersey at home, but not so much for contact. Just whenever I want my wife and kids to not talk to me,
Yes, you need your safe
pop
zone.
the red jersey.
There you
on.
go.
Exactly.
Do players slip up often and accidentally hit you a little bit and you get upset? Has it happened yet?
Nah, it hasn't happened. Guys are pretty good about it. Coach McCarthy preaches protect the team, and we're taking care of each other at the end of the day. We're competing every single day out there on the field between the white lines, but we got to take care of each other, and getting guys out here healthy is probably the number one priority.
So I would ask you if you're enjoying the weather, which obviously it's perfect, but 49ers training in California and growing up in Minnesota, summers had to be pleasant. Maybe not quite like this, but pretty enjoyable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was actually just talking to my brother, who plays receiver at North Dakota State, and he's like, it's 93 out there. So we are definitely blessed to be out here. I didn't necessarily understand it. I was thinking, man, we're in Texas. We got nice weather. But after going through the season and through this off season out there, I definitely understand we're California, man, 75 and sunny every day.
So let's go back to those Minnesota days. In high school, you were a 3-star recruit. I think Minnesota was looking at you at a defensive back, safety, maybe receiver. Then you get the opportunity at North Dakota State, and then 3 short years later, you're the number 3 overall pick. Do you feel like you were kind of overlooked as a quarterback, or did you feel like you made a big jump when you were in college, just being overlooked as a small school guy?
Yeah, I mean, I played at a small school, so, that kind of what comes with it. That's just the world we live in. But at the same time, the rankings and everything, I let you guys and everyone else let's talk about that and decide.
Well, we don't know what we're
we have no idea.
Well, what guys think about that. But, yeah, I mean, I was blessed to go to North Dakota State. Obviously a great program. It's had great quarterbacks. And another one, Cam Miller right now. So I was very blessed to go there and loved it, loved my time there. Definitely flew by, but still keep in touch with all my teammates back there as well.
And we say small school, but the Bison are going for a national championship every year, and I think the championship game, I believe, is still being played in Frisco, which
absolutely, yeah,
our audience is probably pretty familiar with. But with your path so far in the NFL, do you ever wish that maybe you played at like a bigger school or a power conference just to get you even more ready for this level?
No, honestly, I'm a firm believer in everything works out exactly how it's supposed to. So I think my path, whether it was North Dakota State, going through high school, whatever it was, my injury in San Francisco, everything works out. I truly believe that exactly how it's supposed to. So for me, I just control what I can control and stay present and look forward.
Was it a tough decision in 2021 to declare for the draft when you look at that class and Trevor Lawrence went 1 and Zach Wilson, and you were kind of seen as right up there with them? But was it a tough decision to say, okay, 17 starts, maybe go back for another season, maybe go pro? That pretty difficult for you?
For me, it was just get as much information from people who have been doing, draft rankings and studying the game for as long as I've been alive, honestly. So for me, I thankfully had a lot of resources to be able to ask those people those questions, whether it was my coaches at North Dakota State, coaches, former scouts, whoever it was. But for me, it was, it came down to the decision I made with me and my family. And I'd say, honestly, the toughest part of it was leaving my guys that I came in with, Hunter Lupke. Me and Hunter came in together. So leaving guys like that I came in with and felt like our time got cut short, I'd say was the hardest part of it.
So I want to go back to the San Francisco days, and obviously injury did not help whatsoever, and you had to rehab through that. Brock starts thriving in Kyle's offense. Let's go back 11 months. Were you surprised when the news came down that they moved you to Dallas?
I didn't know where it was going to be, but, with that situation, everything, Brock playing as well as he did. Love Brock, by the way. Don't have a bad thing to say about him in the world. But going into it, obviously I had no idea. So it didn't set any expectations as far as where it would be, when it would be, anything like that. But obviously was very thankful to be coming to an organization like this.
And forgive my ignorance, but we're not professional athletes. But when something like that could be in the works, there's got to be a decent line of communication between the organization and your agent or your camp to say, hey, this could happen. Is that
absolutely.
Am I right about
that? Throughout, training camp and even OTAs, it was focused on ball for sure. But once it got closer to that time during the preseason, Mr. Lynch, the GM out there, and Coach Shanahan, we were real tight. So they had a very open conversations, open and honest, and back and forth, and we were able to obviously figure it out, and I think it worked out for both.
Do you ever feel like you got kind of an unfair shake in San Francisco? Because, I mean, the little that we've seen from you with injuries and then, of course, Purdy being outstanding, it felt like it was just like, okay, they had this big investment in you, and there's still a short amount of time, but it just felt like you didn't get the right opportunities there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Everything works out how it's supposed to. I truly am. I know it might sound cliche and everything like that, but I'm a firm believer, and, life's not fair. You learn that this is a business real fast, going through trades and injuries and things like that. So definitely learned a ton, and I honestly learned so much from my injury about myself and as a football player as well that I honestly, it would be tough for me to say right now that I wish things ended up differently.
Visiting with Cowboys quarterback Trey Lance with us here on the ticket. Always curious about schemes and coaches and terminology. Like, I don't know if you watch the Netflix quarterback special where they're just going through just this encyclopedia of plays you have to remember in terminology. What was it like going from Kyle's offense in San Francisco to what McCarthy last year, who became the play caller just last season? Is there a giant difference in philosophy, scheme, or is it just terminology? I'm always curious about the nitty-gritty stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd say maybe philosophy more than anything, but scheme, you see similar concepts. You see someone run it well, a red zone concept well, you're going to see it again. That's kind of the defense's mindset throughout a season. So definitely learned a ton in both. For me, it was great to learn under Kyle, learn the way he sees the game, and then come here and see how Dak, Coop, and Mike and Shoddy and Scotty and all those guys see the game as well.
It feels like you were traded here at probably the worst place to be traded, like part of the season, like right after training camp. The season's about to start, and then you're kind of learning as you go. Like, how long did it really take you to feel in tune with the offense and really learn everything?
I mean, I'm still trying to learn every day. I don't know if I'll ever get to the point. I feel like even being with Dak and Coop right now, like, it's cool to see with Coach Zimmer's defense. Like, we're still learning stuff every day, changing things every day. So for me, it's been cool to see, guys who have played in this league for a long, long time, and obviously Dak at a real high level, how he's still learning and still humble and still wanting to learn.
I'm always curious about the quarterback room because every time in interviews, quarterbacks talk about best room ever. I mean, you've been in a couple now. I would guess, but to play quarterback at this level, you have to have a level of confidence and ego. What's that like, just having all of those personalities in the same room yet functioning together towards one common good? I've always been fascinated by that because you all probably think you should be the guy. Or you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's got to be your mindset. And at quarterback, if you don't have confidence in yourself, it's going to be a long, long season and long career. It's going to be tough to be successful. But for me, I've been very blessed to be in that situation, like you just said, to be in really great quarterback rooms, not only football players but also people. And this is, another one that I'm in the room with two vet guys who have played a lot of ball at a really high level. So for me, it's a huge blessing because I can't imagine. I've heard the horror stories of guys coming in to being traded in certain situations, and it's tough. And thankfully, I haven't been in that situation.
Who's the funniest in the room? Let's be honest. I mean, you're in a safe space. Who's the funniest dude? Who's going to crack everybody up on a given day?
Man, that is a tough one. We're all pretty witty. Coop, I would say Coop is a sneaky funny guy.
Really?
Like, Coop's got some sneaky funny jokes he'll just throw in there in the middle of the meeting.
Because both you and Dak seem a little more outgoing than Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it about Coop. But Coop,
well, he's been on the station, and he's a little bit more reserved than what you've been
sure.
so far, and Dak has in the past.
He's got Coop's got some stuff to him. I'll put it that way. But yeah, I mean, it's a total fun room. Coach McCarthy keeps it very light. Coach Tolzien keeps it very light. At the same time, we get our work done, but we have fun with it. So this has been a real cool experience for me to be out here in Oxnard, and this setup is pretty incredible.
It sounds like you have a good relationship with Cooper Rush, and you mentioned Purdy already, and you love the guy. But just from the outsider standpoint, when you're seeing a quarterback competition happen, like it kind of feels like it's one guy versus another guy. And I know you guys get along, and it's more than just that. You personally connect with them, but is it kind of awkward at times seeing that you're competing against somebody else who you really like and respect, but you're competing for a roster spot or a starting spot?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's awkward at all, honestly. I think it's one of those situations where we both know, what we do right now matters, and all we can do is control what we can control. And I think we're both pretty firm believers in things are going to work out for us, regardless of how it is, where it is, whatever happens. All we can do is control what we can control. And Coach McCarthy talks about it. We talk about it as a team and offense a lot as well. But if we go out and have our best day, have a great day every single day, one day at a time, only good things can come from that.
Trey Lance joining us here on the Sweet Spot, and I know that we try to make radio sound fun, but we actually did some prep work, for this interview. And I was reading about your work with Jeff Christensen in the offseason. He's worked with Mahomes and Baker and people like that. You get into the league. What can, I guess, an outside individual coach teach you about your footwork, mechanics, just everything? Because obviously with Mahomes' working with this guy, he knows what he's doing. What can you learn at this point from somebody that's maybe not in the organization?
Yeah, I think if you come into the league, regardless of how well you played in college or whatever the situation is, thinking that you know it all and you can't get any better, I think that's, downhill trajectory from there. From everyone that I've worked with and everyone that I've been around, quarterbacks in the league, Jalen, obviously Pat, Dak, those guys work their tails off in the offseason. So for me, it's the same way. I'm trying to learn, continue to kind of nail down, I would say, the details, and then kind of foundation up, work on my foundation of my footwork and my drops and my timing, and then you kind of work on the details from there.
Were there big mechanical changes, just out of curiosity, from last year to this year?
No, not really. Honestly, I started working with Jeff after my ankle surgery, so the first thing was just starting to take drops again, starting to get my feet underneath me again and go through the ups and downs, the soreness and things like that. But now it's just kind of been nailing down the details of my feet, my timing, and being on the same page with the coaching staff as well.
What was the most difficult transition going from playing at North Dakota State, being incredible, to going to the NFL and everybody, they have their bumps along the way. You have your high points too. But what was the biggest adjustment?
I'd say probably, everyone wants to say the speed of the game, but you're also faster, your mind processes faster and things like that. But there's definitely a big difference. You see 11 on the other side of the ball and guys like that. There's not too.
At least he can't hit you in practice.
Exactly. You better you get out of that pocket. You better make a decision pretty quick. I'd say that for me, playing the game the way I do, I'd say that was definitely a bigger difference than college.
So obviously one of the media storylines and team storylines, CD's not out here. He's holding out. Probably get a contract done soon, we hope. Who else is opening your eyes on the receiving front? Because you're throwing passes to all these dudes. Who is stepping out and, maybe somebody that we're not thinking about but you've seen every day?
Yeah, man, these guys are all doing a great job. T. Billy had a great day yesterday, obviously. Cam Johnson and Corey Crooms. Ryan Florin, I hopefully get him back out here. But Cam and Corey have been stepping up and doing a great job. Jalen Brooks and obviously Jalen Tolbert, I'd say. Brandon Cooks is one of those guys, Mr. Consistent.
Right.
He's a robot, man. He's a machine. I mean that in the best way possible. He's one of those vet guys that, regardless of your position, your situation, you can learn a lot from. But I think Jalen Tolbert's done a great job this offseason of, stepping up and really being under B. Cook's wings, and now it's kind of time to spread his own.
The best way to develop as a quarterback, I feel like we all know, is to get reps, to get to as much play time as possible, and feels like you haven't been able to get as much play time as you want, especially last year. Do you feel like you're still able to develop into the quarterback you want to be without getting all of the reps that you necessarily have gotten?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously the reps is part of it, and it's going to come, throughout camp, throughout the preseason, things like that. That time is going to come. But for me, I've been a backup quarterback for some time now in these 4 years, or going into year 4 now. So you kind of learn to get those mental reps the best way you possibly can, whether it's tape after practice, during practice, live, and kind of processing it and seeing it, what I've done there, things like that. And obviously Coops gave me another great resource to shoot. If Dak's taking the rep, I can stand right there by Coop and we'll be on the same page. Like half the time we're saying the same thing about, he should have ran it this way, or, whatever, regardless of what it is.
Right.
But yeah, learning from those guys honestly has been a great resource for me.
So I have a nerdy question about numbers. You were 5 with the Bison. You're 5 with the Niners. Brian Anger's wearing 5 now. He's a Pro Bowl punter. Why 19? I'm always curious about, did they just give it to you, or do you have a reason?
I wore 9 in high school. Okay. So that was my switch. So
they wouldn't give you Romo's 9?
Yeah, Terps at 9. Terps got that one locked down. So 5 to 9, 15 to 19.
Okay.
That's a switch up for me. I know, teach their own, but I like it.
So who are your quarterback idols growing up?
Growing up, man, I was a Florida Gators fan growing up.
Okay.
Strictly because my dad was a Florida State fan. I was growing up. So I grew up the Tebow days, slamming his head on the helmet, everything like that when I was real little. And then growing up, I was a Minnesota guy, you know. So we had Teddy for a little bit. Obviously had Brett Favre for a little bit. So those guys were fun to watch. And then, you know, when I was in high school, it was like Lamar. Lamar was coming up, really doing his thing, his Heisman year.
And he's still doing his thing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Not taking any credit away from that guy. Deshaun was another guy that I watched a ton. I watched a lot of college football growing up. I'd say that was probably the biggest difference. But, yeah, man, across the board, I've always loved watching ball. So I'd say those are probably the top 4 guys. But now there's guys across the league that are doing things at a really high level and offenses as well. It's been fun to watch.
You playing the NCAA game yet? If you're a college guy.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I hung it
11
up.
years.
I hung it up. Hung up the controller for the season.
Probably
so,
a good idea.
Smart.
Yeah. Maybe some other positions can maybe focus on that, but
they got a little more time on their hands.
You're in that quarterback room.
You kind of missed out on the game, though, because they weren't making it when you were at North Dakota. So
I
feel like I'd be pretty upset about that.
That's if North Dakota State was on there, it might be a different story. I might have to sneak away and get some time, but that's a little disappointing. We were talking about that.
Well, Trey, best of luck rest of camp. We're excited about what's going to happen in the preseason. And
whereas our friend Tyler Guyton is let's give him a little time to figure this out. Let's send him over to Duke Manyweather. Let's get him some reps. And at the time, I was kind of hoping, if you take a guy like this, can we keep Tyron around for a year and kind of pass the baton when the time is right?
Not so much.
Not just throw him into the lineup. But I guess the conversation of the Cowboys' upside this year is based on the offense being really good. And unfortunately, there are so many questions on the offense. Will CeeDee Lamb be here? If so, who else do you have at wide receiver? If so, what are you doing at running back? And on top of all these issues, then they're all real issues, are you really going to replace 2 starters on your offensive line at center and left tackle? And if you do, are you going to put 2 rookies in there to start the season? And that's why if you see like, here's a top 10 best offenses in the NFL this year, that's why people are very leery of the Cowboys' offenses. There are some questions that need to be answered. And so I wonder if the Cowboys are leaning towards let's just go for it. We could put Chuma Edoga at left tackle against Myles Garrett. And by the way, it's not just Myles Garrett. It's Brian Burns a few weeks later against the Giants with their new pass rush guy. It's T.J. Watt the next week in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah.
And
so you sign up for this job. It's like playing cornerback. I mean, every week there's going to be a receiver that's making $28 million a year that you're facing.
Yes, and so Tyler Guyton, 6'8", and arms as long as you can imagine.
Like the arm length.
He's going to attempt to be the extremely rare rookie left tackle who lasts to pick 29 but can still hold up. I guess the general point of this conversation is if the Cowboys pull this off and Guyton is at least league average as a left tackle right off the bat, then once again we're just going to have to say these guys know what they're doing in the first round of drafts.
Yeah, and
because
when's the last first-round offensive line miss that they've had?
The
last
first-round offensive line miss?
There's been a lot of first-round misses, right?
Yes.
Like, Taco Charlton and
potentially Mozzie.
Right. But it seems like when it comes to the offensive line, they get it right.
Yeah.
Tyron,
Travis, Zach, Tyler.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It really is.
And this one, so people are like, okay, but he was a first-round pick, so he's supposed to be good. Yeah, but let me just tell you how it's a little like quarterback, where if people think like the Notre Dame guy, Joe Alt.
Great name.
Who picked him? Trying to remember who got him up there at pick 7 or 8 this year.
That wasn't the Bears?
No, something.
Oh, yeah, they had a Dunze and Caleb.
Was it Tennessee? Did they grab him up top? Anyway, if you have a starting left tackle, you're gone in the first 10 picks.
Yeah.
And so if you're still around at pick 24 and then you trade back with Detroit, how about that, by the way? How about, I know I'm digressing, but if the Cowboys are able to take pick 24, trade back, and get 2 starters who are rookie starters in their offensive line with the same pick, with that famous Dan Campbell trade back that night, if they got their center and their left tackle,
yeah, that's a hot pick.
That would be incredible. That would have to go down as one of the better Cowboy trades they've made in years.
At what point will you know, and again, it's not based on, a career's not based on 2 months or whatever, but at what point will you know that what you just said has turned into gold? Will you know after 8 weeks or so that, wow, this is legit? Or do you need a full year and change to evaluate something like that?
Well, yeah, the battles, the proving ground is so immense in this league.
I know.
And especially for an offensive lineman, it's a weird deal because it's exactly flipped on a defensive line. A defensive lineman, if he makes 1 or 2 splash plays in a game, he can be having a ham sandwich the other 60 plays, and you won't know, nor will you care. You'll remember that play that, Mozzie made. He tipped the ball in the air that got picked off, or he got a sack or something like that. You'd be like, that's unbelievable. Offensive line, you play perfect for 60 plays, but on the 61st play, he gets around you and sacks your quarterback and causes a fumble. You've had a horrible game, even though you're up at 98% perfection. And so it's a really, really thankless job. And the standards are super high, and you're going against the opposition's monster. And if you're playing tackle, you often don't get any help. And that's why they thought they wanted to move Tyler Smith out there. And I think Tyler's a better guard than tackle. We had him on the show last week, and I think he could do both. You're just asking, well, where is he a star? And where they really want him to play this year is with a rookie on his left and a rookie on his right. And if this works, the Cowboys are going to be absolutely in a great position to have a great year. If it doesn't work, they're going to be scrambling with Brock Hoffman, with Chuma Edoga, and they're going to say, okay, these guys need more time. And it would be totally normal if they needed more time. Like Tyron had a rough first year. He wasn't perfect. It's hard, man. It's such a hard league. And the crazy thing about Guyton is any Oklahoma fan will tell you, he was good. He wasn't great at Oklahoma, right? I mean, there were times where they didn't rush him right back on the field when he got healthy in November. They were kind of
that was a lot of him, though.
Yeah.
That was a lot of him.
Yeah, he had said that he was kind of looking towards the draft already.
It's a weird message to send to teams, though, if you're downshifting at the heat of the season.
We see it more and more, though.
Yeah.
But I would say, to your point, of the great Oklahoma offensive linemen of the past 15 years, or first-round draft picks, you knew Trent Williams was a freak.
That's right.
You knew Creed Humphrey was a freak.
Yep.
And they're both going to end up being
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson was a freak.
Absolutely.
And so you knew all that. This was just a name that suddenly in the middle of the year you would read a mock and it would say, yeah, Tyler Guyton, late first-round pick or whatever. It's like, really? Okay. Dude, as someone who watched every snap that he ever played, not one time did I think, whoa.
Yeah.
There's a mauler.
Well, and it's based on he has extremely rare size.
Yeah.
Extremely rare. And like I said, it's like 36 and a half arms or something crazy like that. So he's going up against Micah yesterday, and all you got to do is get your arm extended, and Micah has to go so far around to get to the quarterback that the ball is out. And so he if he can sort everything out, he'll be a really, really good pro just based on that unfair advantage. But, of course, there's so much more to it than that. I just think it's interesting that
it's kind of under the radar, though, that they have two really, really nice rookies, and now the question is, how quickly do you throw them to the wolves? And
you don't have a choice.
No, you probably
the
don't.
problem.
You probably don't. But
Isn't Brock Hoffman with the first right now?
Yes. I just think that's a matter of time because Brock Hoffman, and I might be underestimating him. I just thought last year when he played, it wasn't great. And he's also 300 pounds. And while we think 300 pounds is a big man, in the trenches in the NFL, 300 pounds is actually quite small. And when you look at Cooper Beebe, I think he's listed at 335.
Okay.
So there's so much more ballast that he's actually a guard. But if he's been snapping to his mom in the offseason to figure out center, that's one thing he told the Musers is he has played 0 snaps of center in his life.
Oh.
And so this spring, the Cowboys said, we think we see you as a center. And he's like, okay, well, I better start snapping.
I've never held a football before.
and so he would literally snap to his mom because not only are you snapping, but you are snapping shotgun all the time in this offense. And so that's not as easy as
to his mom.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out. Don't know what her experience is at the quarterback position playing out of shotgun, but she was trying to help little Cooper figure out how to play center for the Cowboys, and that could happen right away.
I wonder if she's a sturdy woman.
I don't know. Maybe there's footage out there. I imagine most mothers of NFL linemen, though, probably have some sturdiness to
They have
them.
some ballast themselves.
Perhaps they could have helped the rugby team along the way.
Would you like a little bit of draft trivia, Bob?
Sure.
So you guys were talking about the use of first-round picks on offensive line and the fact that they consistently hit. But it has been a recent thing as far as prioritizing the use of draft capital for offensive line.
Yes.
Because before Tyron Smith, can you name the last time they took an offensive lineman in the first round?
Before Tyron?
Yeah,
wanna
before
say-
2011, before Tyron.
I feel like when they drafted Tyron, I heard this note, and it was definitely like Tom Landry, and it might have been. I can't even. I mean, certainly doesn't
Give me
go
a
back.
year. So is it like 86?
It might be earlier than that.
81.
81? Oh my God.
So they basically went 30 years in between first-round offensive linemen.
I wasn't working
Is it
the
Phil
draft.
Posderick?
No.
When I was 8, I wasn't working the draft.
This is kind of right in the wheelhouse of the Cowboys computer starting to have problems and Gil Brandt losing his magic touch. This is the year before Rod Hill.
Oh, man. They had some doozies.
Was Pat Donovan a first-rounder, Corby?
That was before then. So I don't know. Do you have a college?
Mizzou.
No idea.
With the 26th overall pick, the Cowboys took Howard Richards, a
Oh,
tackle
yeah.
from Mizzou.
Oh, my God.
Forgot about Howard Richards.
Yep.
That's wild. 31 years without going O-line.
Yep.
Man.
Especially when you come here. I mean, the training camp here is it smells like football. Now, the skunk this morning was a bit different out there.
Yeah, we've been wrestling that skunk now for 10 straight days.
Yeah, you better avoid him now. He's big. You see him?
It's big.
He's
Yeah, I got
huge.
big pictures of him.
Yeah, so, he's watch him at night. But, so, no, it's really all football, and that's really the focus.
I've been curious about how you've handled the Green Bay game in this offseason from a couple of the different angles. With the players, do you use it as a teaching tool, learn from what went wrong, or is it one of those games that coaches say, let's just burn the tape and move on?
Yeah, I'm not a believer in burn the tape, never have been. Definitely if I was going to start being a burn the tape guy, that would have been one to start with. But, no, that was a brutal loss. But, yes, a learning opportunity. I mean, they really every game is. And really the emotional part of it, just the way, the game started, just the lows and then, just the opportunity to keep fighting back. I'm disappointed in the way we finished the game, I just felt if we would have, a couple plays here and there, we still may have had a chance at the end to maybe, get an onside kick and stuff. So just all those things. There's so many game situation opportunities that come out of that game. But yeah, that was a big part of our off-season program, and that's really when your season ends the way you don't want it to end. It's normally that's the norm of it. So yeah, it's been a learning opportunity for us.
And so much of being a coach is the message that you're selling to the players.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make it more difficult to sell your message here based on how it ended last season, or have you had to change your approach and, okay, my message will be something a little different this year?
I always felt that your message should be unique to the current team, and that's why I don't grab a theme too early, and there's themes that have come to me right away in February, and I just let them cook, and then you go through the off season, then you get into training camp, and you're thinking, man, I don't really think this really fits this team.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's real important in messaging. So I'm not a guy that just read a book and throw the theme out there that's hot or popular based off the last book you read too. So I think it's important to really get to know your teams. Every team's different. Every challenge is different. Where you are in your program, this is year 5 for us. And in year 5 is, there's a higher level of understanding and the cohesiveness that's in our locker room today that didn't exist in the first 4 years. So I think you got to look at all those things when you come up with your message.
It's Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy with us here on the ticket. It's only been a week, but what have you seen? What are some of the themes that are coming to mind after seeing this team?
Well, I think the most important theme is just the fundamentals, the basics. I mean, you got to go through camp. What's nice about GPS and really having this will be the 3rd year in a row where camp is really very similar. Like the practice length is pretty much the same, and so you're getting really healthy comparables in the areas of GPS, the video and so forth. So so far our workload is up, I think like 6-7% capacity. Not that equates to winning, but that just you look at those things and
that's the whole off season, right?
Or the off season program was up 8 or 9% in the just in the participation of the workouts. So I felt like we've had better off season each year, and this was definitely our best year, our best off season. So. Yeah, so it's training camp. We've had 2 days of pads, and we look like a team that's had 2 days of pads. I mean, that's kind of where we are.
You've got a new defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer,
yeah.
Veteran, highly respected as a defensive mind. How's his defense going to look different from the Dan Quinn defense?
Well, it is different. I mean, I think if anybody that's been in the league and called offenses against Dan and called it against Mike, understand the differences. Starting up front, there's different techniques. There's different way we teach the fundamentals. The scheme is different, but there is carryover. I think we can't forget that we were a top 10 defense last year. So and we want to build off of that. And but there's some things we feel like we need to change, and you're always trying to adjust each year. Anyways, and after 3 years of Dan's system, I think this is a really nice, natural, evolution into a different scheme, different approach, but hopefully utilize the playmaking ability of our defensive perimeter guys.
It's kind of the nature of the league now that you have to turn over your roster each year and make the salary cap work. You got a lot of rookies and second-year players that are going to have opportunities. This is about as – I feel like we've talked about a young team for you several times, but this is the youngest so far. Don't you think?
Is it the youngest team?
I don't know. I'm asking.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Don't ask his opinion.
Well, frankly, it really is.
Just with possibility of 2 rookie offensive linemen, and now that some of the guys that you almost like redshirted last year who have more of an opportunity to play this year.
I mean, if you look at the history of roster development, I know just the way it's been since I've been a head coach. 25% of your roster changes every year. I mean, it's just the nature of today's NFL. And I've always been, part of a draft and develop program. I mean, my teams in Green Bay were always young, so I know the first couple of years we were the youngest team in the league, and I stopped looking. So I don't even look at the stat no more, but I know we're relatively young. And I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with it. And I think it's a necessity. And that's why training camp's important. That's why the offseason is important. I think our approach works. I think our veterans do a great job closing the gap between the rookies and the veterans, something that we emphasize all the time. So, I'm very comfortable being young.
Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy with us here at training camp in Oxnard. It seems to us that you and Jerry are good. There was that report that came out a few weeks ago, but you guys are good, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I love my relationship with Jerry. Yeah, absolutely. There's no issue there.
Okay. Just wanted to check on that because we're always monitoring the relationship between Jerry and the head coach. We've been at this for 30 years, and we've seen a lot of relationships.
Do you understand everything he says, or sometimes you get lost in his sentences when they wander around a little bit?
No, I thought, I didn't realize I was going to a business seminar the other day, but that's part of it.
Or that football was that ambiguous.
I enjoy a relationship. I really do.
Football's ambiguous.
And you knew coming in. And I guess, was that something you had to work out when you did come in? Hey, you have the reputation of sometimes stepping on the coach, or was that ever really a big discussion between you two?
No, I think just like anything, I'm thinking back to the early years. I mean, you got to remember we were, I got here, and then 2 months later we were in a pandemic. So really 21 was probably more the first really year as far as interaction and things like that, because the pandemic year was so different. I mean,
and you lose your quarterback, and what a first year that was.
So, but no, I think it's just like any working relationship. It grows, it changes, and you adjust. But no, it's there's some things I really enjoy here. And I think it's like any experience, and there's things you've done in the past that you recommend, and so we've had that. But, the personnel part of it, I've really enjoyed the involvement that the coaching staff has there. That's new for me. The coaching staff and the time commitment that we have in, personnel acquisition is, 6, 7, 8-fold than my past experience. So that I think that's been really good. So you learn those. Working through those situations. But, I think we have a very healthy relationship.
Congratulations on your big off-season honor. Back in May, you were named by Beauty Scan app as one of the most handsome coaches in the NFL.
Well, I'll tell you have me going there for a minute because I get so many awards. I was thinking, which one is he bringing up? So,
how have you capitalized?
What the hell is he talking about?
How have you capitalized on that this offseason?
I haven't, as you can see, but makes me want to go back and clean my face up before the team meeting here.
Well, the game looks pretty much the same from year to year, but one aspect that we've talked about a little bit, it's going to look a lot different this year, is kickoffs.
Yeah.
Man, that's really going to affect field position, potential big plays. What do you think what sort of impact do you think it's going to have on the game?
I think it's going to have a very positive impact. I really do. I mean, it's the irony of it. Devin Hester's going on the Hall of Fame, this week, and God, I mean, I can't tell you how many nights that he, sleep I lost over getting ready to play Devin.
Would you just tell him to kick it out of bounds? Or?
Well, you knew you were going to lose 100 yards field position even before the game started, just because of your approach, So, and that really kind of disappeared, the last 10 years. So, to have that back, I think it'll be exciting, for the game, and we obviously got a returner that we love, and hopefully we'll get Terp some opportunities.
You mentioned leadership books and things like that. Do you read books about leadership still, or at your age and your accomplishment, do you think, there's how much more can I really learn? I've been exposed to every thought philosophy. What
I enjoy is the people that reach out in the books that you do receive, but. What I found, and I think it's more as the way my family's grown and the 5 kids, and what the off seasons of what they look like. I'll scan books and probably more in season. Because I think you're always looking for something, and and we have some great resources too that I utilize. But I don't read as much as I used to. I think as a younger coach, that was something I had a spot in my office and in a time that I was able to read, but I just haven't found that spot quite yet here in Dallas. So a little different schedule.
And my second question is, when was the last time you mowed your own lawn? We were debating this.
I'm trying to give you the date. I mean, does brush cutting your back 10 acres count?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Brush busting,
about 2
all
weeks
that kind
ago.
of stuff?
Yeah, about 2
Wow.
weeks ago.
Look at that.
Man's man.
Yeah.
We thought that.
Toolcat.
Yeah.
Yeah, got me a cool.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, Bobcat and Toolcat,
How about boat time? Did you have a good boat time this summer?
Not as much. Yeah, the boat left the marina about 5 times. That's not enough.
So, man. I hate to
my
hear
oldest
that.
daughter got married at Alex.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, so that was a blast. We did it right down the road here. Oh, hi.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That's a great place.
Oh,
Did you
beautiful.
walk her down the aisle and everything?
Sure did. Sprint. I didn't think I'd run that fast anymore. Yeah.
We have the theory that if for some reason we stopped weddings, that our economy would crash. You agree with that?
Yeah, how much do you have to
that?
pay for that thing?
Yeah. Well,
It was a lot, wasn't it?
Well, I was given a toast, and this definitely wasn't written down. It was part of it, but I kind of slipped in and let's toast the poor son of a bitch that has to pay the bill. So,
That's where we need a salary cap. Is weddings. That's
well,
what
they just
we
told me the number right before the final number. Right
It was
before,
6 figures,
before
wasn't
upper.
it? It was 6 figures.
Yeah, it was upper.
Gosh, the wedding industrial complex, man.
Oh,
I
it's
tell
crazy.
you.
I mean, you walk down there and you want to have a birthday party, then the next group comes in and they get the exact same
same party.
menu, and
Yep.
it's a wedding and it's up 60%.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
it's
Well-
good business to be in. That's for sure. As I found out.
Oh, that was the other thing we had for you was we talked about moving this morning. I had you. How many times have you had to move in your career? Like 8 or 9? Would you say?
Ooh, I've been fortunate, very fortunate in that area compared to some of the guys I've worked with. So yeah, I moved from Pitt to Kansas City's one, Kansas City to Green Bay to New Orleans, San Francisco to Green Bay, and then Green Bay to Dallas. So not as much.
That's
as
not bad.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. No, we've been very fortunate as a family.
In the last 15 years, really just one
Yes,
move.
definitely. Like my younger ones, it's it's the first time they've moved,
Yeah.
and it's been awesome for them. Grow up in a small town, born in a small town, and now live in the big city of Dallas. So I think that's been really a great experience for them.
Well, we appreciate the time this morning. Like the old school logo on the sweatshirt.
Yeah,
That's
great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great. Yeah, he's wearing an Oakland A's jersey in case anyone is just listening on air.
No, it's
not-
Navy
not
Cowboys.
stuff.
It's got the old 1960s logo on it. It's
Oh.
pretty awesome.